Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you doing this fine Wednesday evening?
Great. I've been sitting here for 35 minutes waiting to go.
I apologize, Grumpy. You know what it was? Is I confused the little hand with the big hand when I was looking at my analog clock, Grump, and that's what got me all mixed up. It was something about falling back to, I don't know. You threw me off. You were sitting in a different seat today. I don't know. What excuse can I use? What excuse would be valid?
Can't read comments, and now you can't tell time either?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
I can't tell time, Grumpy.
Okay.
That's the issue.
Right.
But welcome, everyone. This is a twice a week All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. This Saturday, breaking alert, this Saturday we will not be having a live stream this Saturday. Maybe we'll do something on Sunday. Who knows, Grumpy? Maybe we'll do something on Sunday. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. There will be nothing on Saturday. I can promise you that. We will be down in Dallas watching the Islanders against the Dallas Stars game, seeing them firsthand. One of the listeners of this show, very thankful for that individual. We'll keep them in anonymity, but we'll be meeting up there with a few individuals in that Dallas area. If you're listening to the show, contact us. We'll make sure we can do something beforehand to meet you guys, or during game time or something like that, or during warm-ups. But we will be at that Dallas Stars game. Very thankful for that individual who got us tickets to see the Islanders against the Dallas Stars. Very thankful for them. Yes, so there will be no show this Saturday.
And for those of you thinking that just because the show, is maybe 4 or 5 days late, it's not just because of TJ time. Like just, okay, it's just TJ. He's just running a couple days late. Don't. That's not what it is.
Yes, I won't be running a few days late. Only a few mere minutes late is the most that happens. But we also have a second
damn funeral.
We also have a second podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
He's late for that one all the time as well.
Oh, good gracious, Grumpy! I could tell I've hit a nerve with you, Grumpy. I could tell you're disappointed.
I just like to start on time. I'm just big on starting on time.
Grumpy, I was ready, Grumpy. I was ready on time.
You weren't ready. You weren't ready. You absolutely weren't. You didn't even send the invite until well after 8 o'clock.
I sent it like 8:03, 8:04. Now look at his ass. I can tell by the way.
8:09. It was 8:09. Okay. You know what that means? You're already 9 minutes late. And then you add the 3 minutes, it's 12 minutes.
Oh, good
I'm sitting
goodness.
here waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
I'm sorry. I am sorry, Grumpy. I'm
No,
sorry more to the listeners
you
than you.
know, you know what? Because it means nothing to you. So that's why you just, well, screw it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything to you.
What
Who
doesn't?
cares? Who cares if the people clear their schedules to be here at 8 o'clock and TJ's just footsing around doing whatever the hell he's doing? I
Uh,
don't know.
I apologize, Grumpy. But yes, we have the other podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we talk all things sports on that show. So it's hockey, football, World Cup, soccer action. We'll be talking a lot of soccer upcoming. We're going to be talking NFL, college. I know you said football, but college football as well. College basketball rearing its head as well. NBA, MLB, and much, much more. So the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Show again, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't checked that out, it's a must. It's a must view, a must listen. TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
And you can usually show up a half hour late and not miss anything because TJ won't even be on by then.
Oh God Almighty. I guess you know what? It's just the criticism I guess I'm receiving. It's just
Well, it's just absolutely it is. I even said to you today, let's make sure we start on time. Please, let's start on time. Oh, okay. Yeah. This was at 7 o'clock. He's like, yeah, I just got home. Okay. Let's make sure we start on time. Okay. Here it is. Half hour late.
well, we
Don't give me
do
that
have.
I don't even want to see that stupid grin. I just need you doing better.
I'm gonna smile all the time now, Grumpy. I'm gonna have a huge shit-eating grin on my face for it. Anyway, that being said, we do have something we want to announce, promote, items of that nature. Grumpy Old Man, there is a Islanders meetup. If you are in the Philadelphia area, Grumpy. Now there's an Islanders meetup coming up soon. Do you remember a good friend of the show, Grumpy? Mikey Ryan, Mr. Ryan.
No, I don't remember him.
You don't remember Mr. Ryan?
No.
Do I need to post a picture of him with you guys standing
I don't
this
have
time?
another hour and a half for you to go through this. Just tell them what they need to do.
Oh man. So if you are in the Philadelphia area, you've got
Why
to
you would
make
be, who knows? Who'd want to be in that slime bowl territory?
if they're behind enemy lines in that Philadelphia area or close to it, or maybe you just hate the Flyers so much that you want to watch the Islanders mop the floor with them. They have a big Islanders meetup, the Philly Islanders meetup on Twitter. They've got something going on. It's going to be on the 29th of November. They've got a lot of fans, a lot of people signed up, ready to go to that. So if you are in the Philly area and you want to go, then November the 29th, their Islanders meetup in Philadelphia, Grumpy, behind enemy lines. Let me ask you this, Grumpy. If you were at a meetup like that, would you be making friends? Would you be making friends with those Flyer fans?
I wouldn't be wearing an Islanders jersey. I'll tell you that much.
Why is that? You afraid they're going to get a car battery thrown at you?
They're animals. Philadelphia is a scum. It's like the asshole of the country,
Is that what it is?
pretty much.
Oh, good grief.
That whole section there.
Oh man. Yes, but make sure to check it out. Isles Meetup Philly. I think they also have Twitter. I'm sure they do too. So I'll pull it up real quick and show it on screen. But just so you guys are aware, they do have a big meetup coming up in Philly behind enemy lines. But Grump, there has been a lot that's happened since our last show. The Islanders are 11-6 through their first 17 games.
Take it. We'll take it.
And let's, before we kind of jump into what we're talking about, we're going to talk about this in depth, but we're also going to talk about Simon Holmstrom getting called up to the NHL. Grumpy Old Man, when I told him this today, I said, can you believe what happened to Simon Holmstrom? Grumpy said, what? I said, he got the call up to the NHL. He was shocked. He honestly had no idea. So everything is going to be pretty raw for Grumpy today, I'm sure. So we'll have that. And also, Johnny Gaudreau shed some light on a topic that was a big item of conversation this offseason. So
Sounds
we'll
like
have to
Lou
talk.
Lamoriello lying to the people.
Oh, no, he could never lie to the people. Right, he rose the price on a lot of those guys, Grumpy. He was out there. Do you remember these bullshit reports we saw where he had met with Anders Lee and the captain? They spoke with the captain as well as Lou Lamoriello to try to convince him to come to the Islanders. Remember that line of shit we heard this offseason? Don't
No,
worry, we did.
we knew it was a lie.
We did. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Johnny Gaudreau, I'm sure, as anybody who's not living under a rock, Johnny Gaudreau was shocked that the Islander fans were booing him. It's like, why were they booing me? I didn't even have conversations with their organization to come here this offseason. And you go, oof, okay. Well, we were definitely led to believe by the pundits, the people who were connected, and everybody else that the Islanders were in on Johnny Gaudreau, but that must have been a clear and obvious lie. But yes, so we're going to talk about that.
Oh, the price up. How did he drive the price up? By saying that the Islanders weren't interested?
You think that's what the price up?
That's what he said. He was driving the price up on all these free agents. He didn't do shit.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Do shit. Useless.
Well, let's first talk a little bit about the Islanders off to an 11-6 start. I think, all circumstances aside, right? I think there's reasons they're 11-6, but all circumstances aside, when it comes down to the brass tacks, they're 11-6. Looking at the games they had at the beginning of this year, I would have to say I am impressed with the 11-6 record. I don't think you can be upset with an 11-6 record.
True.
At face value, there's no way at all you can be upset with items like that. I know, we talk obviously that, games are and the playing style we have sometimes may leave some to be desired. But we've had late games heroics. We've been playing, I'd say, inspired hockey. And I'd also say that right now we're in a spot to where the team is buying, the Lane Lambert lemonade.
For me, you cannot complain with 11-6. You can't. That being said, we're not playing really well. These games are particularly against the caliber of opponent we've been playing. I just don't think we've been playing very well. But at the end of the day, they don't ask how you've been playing. They say, how many points do you have? We have a big stretch of games here coming up in the rest of this month and maybe into early December, where we're going to have to win a whole bunch of those games. This has to be the easiest part of our schedule coming up.
It is.
So we're going to have to put some distance between ourselves and the competition. Right now, everything is really bunched up. So we're going to have to really start to make some hay here in the next, 2-3 weeks. I want to say coming away with like 90% of the points.
Wow. So it's jumped up.
Well, the teams we're playing are bad. You got Toronto. They were a good team. Dallas.
Let's not jump in already and start talking about the matchups and blow our load all over the place, huh, Grumpy? Because I want to get back to the question, because there's a few things I want to take us on this show. I want to talk about, again, the 11-6. That's good. Obviously, I think there's reasons for us being there, but it is an easier schedule we have coming up. Now, let me ask you this. Again, what we've seen early, do you think we can carry this momentum, and how long do you think we can carry this momentum?
As long as our goaltending stays as good as it is. I think we have the best goaltending in the NHL. I really do. Because we're giving up. I mean, Romanov. I mean, I know it's been a common refrain for me. He's always out of position. Yeah, he hits a lot of guys, blocks a lot of shots. He's always out of position defensively. And you know how bad it is because he's a Lou Lamoriello trade guy. So he gets a free pass. They make sure they tell everybody, hey, don't bag on him too much. He's the big offseason acquisition. And, but even Butch had to say, he really wasn't where he needed to be on that one. And he went back to ripping, Matt Barzal or Noah Dobson or, the regular stalwarts.
Oh, good grief.
But but Varlamov was sensational against Ottawa. Sensational. He was great. I mean, okay. What did we say before the season started? If you want to have more offense on your team, you're going to have to engage your defense more, which means that there's going to be some gaps or some lapses coming back if you're not as buttoned up defensively. And we've seen that. I don't think our defense has been great. I don't think any of our pairings have been great defensively this year. But the goaltending with Sorokin and Varlamov has just, like I said, I think we have the best goaltending in the league. I just do. 1-2 punch. There's a lot more high danger chances that they're seeing this year, and they're making the big save at the big moment.
Let me ask you this to play devil's advocate, because you and I are both, and we're in favor all offseason long to trade Simeon Varlamov.
Mhm.
And because we've got I'd say top 3 netminder in the NHL in Sorokin. Now, I think that Varlamov struggled a little bit last year, but obviously playing in the capacity where he's going to be asked maybe to play 30 games, if that, right? Maybe 30 games this year. I think his play is a lot better knowing that what we're asking of him is completely diminished. I've liked what I've seen from him this year. Still let in a few weekies earlier on, but and I think he's never going to be a perfect goaltender. But our goaltending has been fantastic. We've got great goaltending coaches. I mean, the goaltending alone could take you a long way. I just wonder, will that ever have a moment or a lapse in it, a moment of weakness in it, or a lapse? That's the question.
Um, every team is going to go through their ups and their downs. I'm just saying, if our goaltenders turn out, if they have an average stretch, we're going to lose a lot of games because
Correct.
we've not been sound structurally.
We've been hemorrhaging chances that are coming back our way. And remember, I talked about this over the offseason. We're a team that has fantastic goaltending. We can afford to be more offensive minded and to concede more chances coming the other way because I trust our goalies. We're doing that now. But I think, everything you like within moderation, within healthy confines, we're in a spot to where we are giving up a lot of high danger scoring opportunities. And like you look at the Johnny Gaudreau, he missed a wide open tap in there. I think of the game that we were doing live. You look at these chances. Our goalies have come up big. Sometimes we've gotten lucky at times because people will miss their opportunity. But we have been giving up a lot of chances. What do you think? I mean, how can we fix that to where, right, if we weren't giving up those chances, I think we would look even more dominant, right? We're 11-6. I think sometimes we're really dominant, other times very questionable where we get dominated. I think if we give up less high danger chances going our way, I think that changed the perception of the game.
Yeah, but that means we're not going to be creating enough offense.
So you think
Remember,
there's no way?
nothing has changed on the offense from this year to last year. Nothing.
Just system.
Ju-
Yeah.
But what I'm talent wise. So let's say, okay, well, we're going to have to make a more concerted effort to be better buttoned up defensively. Well, that means that you're going to not have as many chances going forward. That's what it means, because it's not like our talent level is so superior that we're just, oh, well, okay, let's just button up defensively and we're going to let our individual talent dominate on the offensive end. That's not how we're scoring goals. Just isn't. The D is imminently involved, pinching down, going to the front of the net. Those are things that we never did under Barry Trotz. But you know what? You're going to get caught out of position, and your goaltending has to be really big in those circumstances. And so far, we have been. As long as that keeps up, we'll be okay.
This is
Again, we're beating some teams who have been in. And here's the thing: I'm not making excuses. I'm just stating facts because I don't believe in excuses. Injuries to certain teams that are really slumping at the time that we play them, playing the worst teams in the league. I mean, those are all advantages that we've had so far. We're not going to have that, particularly the injury. The players are going to be getting healthy for some of these squads, and we're going to be playing a tougher schedule down the stretch. This is, like I said, I'm just looking at this next stretch of games, and I'm like, we really have to overperform in these next 10 games. Just have to.
I would agree. And you talked about a few items there. I think that, right, we're going to have to overperform. I think for a lot of this season, we've won a few games where necessarily maybe if you look at it over a full 60 minutes, Maybe we were outplayed if you look at it minute by minute, but we came away. Our dominant minutes were enough to, rack up a few quick goals to either eat away at a lead or to take a lead and advantage late in the game, and that's benefited us. The comparison, I was going to wait until I was going to wait. I was going to have an ace in the hole for when Phil's facts comes on later. But do you think that this Islanders team reminds you a bit, sustainability wise, of the Rangers of last year? The Rangers defense was not great last year. The Rangers hemorrhaged chances left and right. I'm not saying our defense is as bad as the Rangers defense. What I'm saying with this comment is the Rangers were heavily reliant upon fantastic goaltending play by Shesterkin to allow them to stay in games, to help their record, as well as in the playoffs. They were extremely reliant upon him, and their defense gave up a lot of chances. They also had to have great power play performance. The power play doesn't necessarily apply to us here, but I'm saying our defense is giving up a lot of chances, but our goaltending is having to keep us in games. Does that remind you of a little bit of the Rangers from last year?
Not for me, because the two teams are built totally different. The Rangers had a whole lot of offensive firepower. We don't have that. I mean, our defense is way better than theirs was last year,
Right.
but offensively, there was no comparison. There's no comparison between them and us. They're way better than us with offensive talent. I mean, yeah, you could say Shesterkin was great last year, and he was. And Sorokin's been standing on his head this year, and so is Varlamov for the most part. He certainly did against Ottawa. So I mean, maybe the goalie aspect, but no, the Rangers we're not going to have 120 points or 115 points, whatever the Rangers had last year. We're not going to have that at the end. They were just not talented enough.
I'm saying, does the play, it gives me a little bit of Ranger-esque vibes, at least the play does, where I'm like, man, we're giving up a lot of chances, and we are very, very reliant upon our goalie to come up with every single one of these saves that we're just accustomed to at this point. But most teams are not afforded that fantastic net play like we are.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a common refrain this season. Our goaltending is better than the other teams.
Yep.
And it's good going into a game like that. It's like I never think we're ever going to give up a goal, really, particularly when Sorokin's in net. I'm like, okay, he might have a bad game down the stretch here or there, sure. But I go in pretty much into every single matchup saying we have the advantage in goal.
Yes, there's not a single goalie I'm looking at right now where I could say without a shadow of a doubt he's better than Sorokin.
Right. Like we're not, we're playing Dominic Hasek tonight. One goal is going to make a difference. That's not what it's like around the league right now.
No, we talked about it. And I think we talked about this, last show. And even we were talking with a Washington Capitals podcast this last Sunday, since our last show. And he was making obviously his case as to why he thinks the Washington Capitals are going to bounce back and what he thinks is going to happen.
They're not making the playoffs.
I think it's going to be tough for them too. But he keeps telling me, he's like, oh, $48 million worth of our cap is injured. Think about that. Over half of the cap space that team has is injured at the moment. Could you imagine if that was the Islanders, where we would be in the standings?
We'd be in trouble. But like I said, then you see Washington, right? A team like Washington, even a team like Pittsburgh, you can't make the playoffs in the first quarter of the season, but you sure can get yourself eliminated.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing from these teams. Washington's played a lot of games, and they're, 5-6 points behind us.
18 games, and they're 5 points behind us right now.
Yeah, they have guys injured. They'll get them back, but how far out of the playoff picture are you going to be? Because when you're so far back, not only do you have to play extremely well, you have to have the teams in front of you come back to the pack, so to speak.
They did, and the guy who covers the Washington Capitals told us this is the toughest portion of their season, is this month right here. The first month of the season was the second hardest month. This is the hardest month. So I'm not necessarily, as an Islander fan, it kind of makes me a little intimidated. I said, okay, so they're going to be coming on. with more steam. As they start getting players back healthy, they're going to be playing the easier portions of their schedule. The only thing we can hope to eliminate them from playoff contention is that they're so far out of the picture that no matter what type of Herculean comeback they have, it's just going to fall short. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, the same thing with Pittsburgh, right? It's like these teams are struggling mightily to start the season. And now you see Philadelphia just totally gone off the rails. Thank goodness. And then you have Columbus, who's maybe one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, so you look at it like, okay, we're looking good for playoffs right now. I know it's still early, but we're building up that's what I'm saying. It's so important over the next string of games. If we can put another, I don't know, 6-7 points ahead of Washington and Pittsburgh, I think we're going to be in really good shape to make the playoffs. Just like last year, I said, everyone's, we can make a comeback. Yeah, but you fall behind a certain amount. It's probably not going to happen because you have too many teams you have to pass. You have to have other teams just fall apart, and then you have to play superior to even catch up. And that's why I'm feeling these next 10 games are so important to us to maybe bury the Washingtons and the Pittsburghs where we can say, okay, we're going to make the playoffs.
Or at least for us, right? Where we separate ourselves far enough from those two players to where we don't have to worry about a big comeback from them. I mean, they still may jump a team. Let's say if you're sitting at 4th in the division, they may jump the 4th best team if it's still close enough. But we've really got to make some headway. Speaking of Philly, by the way, if you want, really quick aside, if you want to go to that Islanders Philadelphia Flyers game, they got the Islanders meetup group that's going to be doing it on November 29th behind enemy lines. You can get them on Twitter there, Isles Meetup Philly. I know they're going to help you out there on that way. You can reach out to the just Islanders meetups in general. That's the best way to do it if you're in that Philly area, Grump.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know there is a social media handle.
I will not be going to that.
You're not going to make it to the Philadelphia game. You don't want to watch the Philadelphia Flyers lose to the Islanders.
I will not be at that game.
Okay. But yeah, and just to pop up, we talk about how this is an easy portion of our schedule. I think we've talked about it a bit, but just to reiterate this, Grump, you're right. We've got Nashville Predators.
Should be a win, right?
I mean, you look at the Predators start of the season, 7-8-1. They're at the bottom. Okay, they're at the bottom of that board. They're right near it's early yet, but they're right near the Arizona Coyotes. They're one of the less talented teams in the Western Conference. And the Western Conference is really weak. Right. The Dallas Stars are a good team. They're leading their division. I know they've got a few games in hand, but they're off to a good start, the Dallas Stars this year. That's going to be a tough game.
Even if that's a loss, that's fine. I just want to kind of add up what I think, what should definitely happen. Something might happen one way or the other, but you want to come out of these games. Predators should be a win, right? So we'll say the Stars are a loss. Maple Leafs a loss. Oilers should be a win. Then you got, if you can just scroll it up a little bit more.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk a little. You're just blowing by him, my guy.
Well, I want to
talk a little about him instead of just saying win, loss, win, loss.
Well, I just want to say how many points that I feel we must come out of.
I mean, Toronto, right? When we're talking about that Toronto game, bro.
Toronto's good. Toronto's righting the ship right now.
Do you remember when people were trying to say Toronto might fire Keefe? They might fire him. Oh, they might fire Toronto. They need to get rid of everyone. Barry Trotz is headed to Toronto because they're struggling so much. Toronto they're a very formidable opponent. They're a very talented team.
True. So let's say we beat Nashville. We lose to Dallas.
I'll count it up. I will count it up. You just tell me what you think. I'll have your counted down. So don't pretend like you just think everything in your brain.
This is worst case. This is what should happen. We beat Nashville, lose to Dallas, lose to Toronto, beat the Oilers, beat the Blue Jackets.
Hold on. Do you think it's going to be a foregone conclusion we beat the Oilers?
I think we'll beat the Oilers.
Okay. They're I'm about to say they're 9-7 this year.
Okay. I still think we should beat the Oilers.
Okay. Fair enough.
Then we should beat the Blue Jackets. We should beat the Flyers twice in a row. We should beat the Predators again. Then we should beat the Blackhawks and we should beat the Blues. So out of that stretch of games, I only see 3, and then we get into a difficult part of our schedule.
That's right. So this is why when we talk about it could be deceiving, right? I would say that we could expect my expectation, right? We're 11-6 right now. We should our expectation for the team should be, hey, we're going to be in a spot where we're 18, maybe an 8. I
Yeah,
don't think that's unrealistic.
no,
Just
not
because
at
of the
all.
opponents we're playing. We're playing a lot of teams that are in the bottom 10 of the NHL right now
I
in
mean,
this stretch.
we're playing. I mean, we just beat Columbus, what, 2 days ago or whatever, 3, 4 days ago? We're playing Columbus, Ottawa, who we both beat, the Flyers twice. Again, um, we're gonna see Columbus again. The Blues are the worst team in the West. The Blackhawks are next to worst. I mean, we have to win these games. We can. There's no way we can come out and say like we scuffle and go. I mean, what is it? Is it 10 games? Is that what it
7
is?
games over a 7-game stretch.
It's only 7 games.
This is 7 games. That's correct.
Oh, I thought it was more than that. Can we start that again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay,
I'm sorry,
maybe
it's 8
it's
games. 8 games. I'm
8
sorry.
games.
8-game stretch.
Okay, we have to come out 6-2. You cannot come out 4-4. Cannot come out 4-4. This is going to be the easiest stretch that you have all year. Is this stretch right here? The Predators are crap. We play them twice, right?
Twice over this number. We play the St. Louis Blues.
They're just terrible. We play the Flyers twice.
The Blues are on a 3-game winning streak right now, but they're still 3-7. 3-7 in their last 10. The Blues were on a 7-game losing streak when they lost us. Maybe they're going to go on a huge upswing and we're going to be singing a different tune. But they're the worst team in their division right now, the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah. I mean, those are teams that you have to beat. Because we could just do a quick look through on the schedule after that. It gets markedly more difficult.
And we're not going to break it down too in depth. The Devils.
Devils,
we all know the Devils, top of the division. Hurricanes, second in the division, second or third in the division. I can't remember. The Bruins, top of their division.
Best team in the league.
Arizona Coyotes.
Well, they shut us out last time.
The Vegas Golden Knights. They're off to a hell of a good start. The Colorado Avalanche. The Rangers.
The Rangers. Panthers again. How many times we play the Blue Jackets? Why do we not get to play the Rangers 4 times in the season? Why the hell? And why, if we're playing the Blue Jackets, why do we play them 4 times in a month? I mean, come on, schedule makers. What the hell?
Gotcha. And you get the Penguins. So, I mean, that stretch of games is going to be I know the Penguins aren't off to a great record now. That stretch is going to be tough. We'll get through a softer portion of our schedule right here. And then we go into about a 7-game stretch where it's really tough, where I could see us maybe pulling 2 wins out of like another 7 games. So, we've got to make hay. And people are going to say, oh, great. It's not a big deal if we go 4-4 over this stretch. Hey, we're still 15-10.
The whole thing is, you put also psychological pressure on other teams if you're up by 10, 12 points on teams like Washington and Pittsburgh. Then it's like, oh, geez, man, we're really far behind. I mean, that gives a psychological boost to your team and something they're like, oh, man, it's really going to be an uphill climb. Grumpy. It's just difficult. We saw it last year with our squad, right? We could never seem to make up that difference. We've stayed about the same thing all year long from November on.
Can you scratch your mic? I want to make sure your mic's connected. Yeah, you're not using your mic. You're using your audio. I was wondering why I can hear you slamming around a lot. I didn't know if you were very energetic today or if it was or if you were in a spot to where it was just picking up something a little different. But no, I can't hear you. You're going to have to turn your mic on, I'm sure. Your actual mic. You're muted now. Nope. Okay. Grump, if you go ahead and make sure, remember, you've got a flip that you've got to turn your actual microphone on. Anyway, so we'll prevent any dead air. But, we're in a spot to where, the Islanders going to go through a softer portion of their schedule now, and then it's going to get a little tougher. So I reasonably expect us to start really compiling some points here, and I think we have to. So, and, I think that we're a team that Obviously, no injuries has helped us out. We're very fortunate in that. The longer we can stay healthy, the better. But you've got to be happy with the 11-6 start of this year that we currently have.
Yeah, it could be my battery is just dead on this, so I'm just going to go with the.
Have you just left the battery on all the time?
No. Guess what? Batteries run out after a while. I've been using the same battery since I've been doing this for a year, so it's just probably burnt out. Okay.
Is that what it's okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good gracious. Anyway,
Here's the thing: if I wasn't ready to go, or like 45 minutes, an hour before every show, having that battery run, maybe I'd still be able to have a live battery.
oh, get off your freaking horse. What can I tell you? Get off your freaking high horse.
My high horse.
I'd say get off your freaking horse. You're a high horse. That horse is high no matter what. It's redundant. High horse. And then other fucking low horses that I don't know about. What is that? What's somebody drinking a million times today, huh?
I'm thirsty. I was over here dehydrating, waiting for you to get on the podcast.
Oh, I swear you're something else. You're something else. How many great drinks did you get prepared for today's podcast?
Only 2.
Oh, God, he's going to be in trouble, especially when we start talking about Simon Holmstrom. Let's make that our next topic of discussion. Wow. Simon Holmstrom called up to the NHL, Grumpy. Hold on. Yay, Grumpy. Simon Holmstrom.
Okay. Don't use the sound effects because it's the only one you have. I give you ideas for thousands, and that's the only one you have, and it just sounds stupid.
There's so many other things I take care of. Adding sound clips to the board, Grumpy, is low.
Well, then just don't play that one. Just pretend like there's nothing to play.
Was that better for you, Grumpy? You
get TJ showed up today to the podcast. Yay! He's late. Yay! At least he showed up.
Okay. I was hoping you'd have something more to it as well, but that's fine. Simon Holmstrom called up to the NHL roster, Grumpy. Immediate reaction. This is a guy that you've been very critical over, calling him the endearing name of Casper, the invisible ghost, Holmstrom.
Why? Why is Casper Holmstrom called up? I don't think there's a reason.
Because he brings so much to the team. He's been great in Bridgeport, Grumpy. Don't you know? He plays a great 200-foot game.
He sucks. I just wonder if they put him in the lineup, if they shoehorn him into the lineup, who's going to sit out? And did they give him the Oliver Wahlstrom, Kiefer Bellows, name any young guy treatment where they get 5 or 6 minutes a night?
Well, no, definitely Kiefer Bellows, right? Kiefer Bellows played like 6-7 minutes a night after a great preseason, 6-7 minutes a night. And they say, here you go. Now we're going to ship you off. Time for you to learn a brand new system, brand new line mates, brand new situation here. It's tough to immediately react to that. But Stefan Rosner, great beat writer of the Islanders, Grumpy. He's talking about it there too. Yep. That's why they waived Shushnikov and they brought up Simon Holmstrom. Wow. It's not like, here's the thing. You would expect first round pick Simon Holmstrom towards the latter half of the first round, albeit, but he's in a spot to where he's got 5 points in 12 games.
He sucks. I saw him live. He sucks.
You're going to get to see him live again. Holy shit. You know what just clicked for me? You're going to get to see him live probably in an Islander sweater at that Dallas game, Grump. Holy crap.
Let me tell you something. You will be so underwhelmed with his performance. Whenever you see him, he's going to remind you of Josh Bailey. And I mean the Josh Bailey who does nothing. Did Josh Bailey play today? Never heard his name mentioned. I mean, no. Why did they waive Shushnikov? What? Why? Believe me, this kid doesn't skate as well as Shushnikov. He's not as defensively responsible as Shushnikov.
He plays a great 200-foot game, though, Grump.
Yep. That means he just skates up and down the wing. Well, you know what? Maybe if it was a 10,000-meter sprint, like when those guys are skating for an hour and a half, maybe he'd be worth something. He's not fast. He's not creative. I like I said, I've never been impressed by him. Even when I didn't see him. And then when I saw him, well, I was right. There's so many other guys who are playing better down in the A than he is. He's no great shakes. He's not leading the team in anything. Nothing.
He's leading the team in invisibility, Grump. Time spent invisible.
He's only
You
the only thing he leads a team in is he was drafted higher than anybody else. That's it.
know.
Nothing else.
Yeah,
What about Ratu? Why not Ratu? Why not call him up? He was infinitely better in training camp. He's a way better player than he is. If he's not going to play for the Islanders, why not just let him play in the A and call up a veteran? Because you're looking at a fourth line fill-in, right? Isn't that what Shushnikov was for the most part? Fourth line fill-in.
Bottom six guy. Yep.
So is that what you're looking at Casper Holmstrom as?
Is that what we think of his projectability, to where we think, well, maybe he's just a bottom six guy, so him, playing only bottom 6 minutes in a bottom six role is not really going to affect him too much. No need for him to play these top six role here in Bridgeport, because let's just slot him in where he belongs, bottom six.
He's not even the best player on Bridgeport. He's not even the second best player on Bridgeport.
He's not even the third best player on Bridgeport, right, Grump?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, as a prospect, Ishikov is better than he is. Ratu's better than he is. I'm not going to say DeFore is better than him right now because I haven't seen him play. But I've seen these other kids play. They're better than he is.
Have you seen, by the way, that Samuel Bolduc is putting up points in droves in Bridgeport?
I think that's great news. Great news.
Had a very, very poor year last year, and he's playing much better this year. You got to be excited about that as an Islander fan.
Doesn't that make it easier to move Scott Mayfield at the deadline?
Well, they're not going to move him at the deadline.
Well, they should.
They're trying to compete for a cup. Why the hell would you
get winning a Stanley Cup? We're not winning a Stanley Cup.
That's what the team's idea is. And here's the shitty part. We could be so far entrenched or right on the cusp of a playoff spot, and we are going to double down, Grump.
Then just expect more failure forward. That's all.
Look at that. I swear, he's going to burn through all his purple drink. He's going to be in trouble. All his great drinks.
Reload on the purple drink before the show's over.
What the fuck? How much water are you drinking over there? You can't
take another 6 bathroom breaks. If I have to reload on a couple of drinks, 2 podcasts a year, let me tell you something. That says more about you than me.
I don't know how you don't have to piss when you drink so much water.
Because I'm not a filthy animal like you are. What can I tell you? You just pee your pants like you usually do.
Oh, that's cute. Anyway, so yes, Simon Holmstrom with the call up.
It makes no sense to me. Just like the waving of Kiefer Bellows to bring up Robin Salo and
to send him back down to Bridgeport.
Send him back down. What sense did that make? So all the guys that you signed in, except for Romanov, you brought in Shushnikov, right? And re-signed Bellows. Those were your big off-season moves. And you let those 2 guys go already. I don't understand it.
Yeah, 2 of
them. They didn't go after Gaudreau. Well, I believe they didn't go after Kadri. I don't think he did anything this offseason.
Well, I want to ask you a quick question before we get into the Johnny Gaudreau and what happened with that saga. Let me ask you this. Now, the more and more you see from Romanov, do you think the likelihood of him ironing out his imperfections or hammering out his imperfections, do you think that's more and more likely, or do you think, maybe we gave up too much for this kid? Which way are you leaning right now? It's early yet. He's a young defenseman, but it's early.
But he's been the starter for what? This will be his 3rd year as a starter?
Yep, 17 games with this team with the same partner.
And what did he do in Montreal? He was 2-year starter there, right?
Pretty much.
It's problematic that he's not positionally sound in any way, shape, or form. He's not. He's always out of position. That's a problem. I don't know. On Monday, he got away with, an elbow on a guy on the boards. A guy retaliated. We got the benefit of the power play, which led to a goal for us. But that type of reckless play, just charging at guys in the corner is just, man, remember, you're a defenseman. You can't be taking yourself out of position. He's just, how many times we see he's like along the boards on one side and Dobson's trying to cover 2 guys. I I don't think he's positionally solid. He's just not. I mean, can he get better? Maybe, but he's been a starter for 3 years. Kind of fully baked by now, aren't you? Kind of, if you've been positionally bereft for your whole career, I don't think that's going to change. I mean, I don't know who's working with him, but it's not working. He's just not where he needs to be most of the time.
So including postseason games, Romanov has played 154 games. We usually say the first 200 games kind of determines what type of defenseman you are. Wouldn't we say that?
Yeah, he's physical. He blocks shots. He's out of position a lot. That's all I'll say. That's what I see out of him. He does hit. He does. He's going to draw some penalties, but he's out of position a lot, and he's really good at blocking shots. But it seems like he's always out of. Where the hell is he? I look out there. I'm like, where's the other defense partner? Oh, there he is.
As we've got a guy
as the boards up the ice.
As Noah Dobson's covering a guy who's got the puck, Romanov is marking a man who's on the other side of the ice. As there's a guy streaking right down the middle. I'm like, Romanov, you've got to understand to go ahead and cover the guy who's streaking down the middle, my friend.
I think he goes for the hit or the pinch every single time, and he gets caught out of position. And like I said, he needs to be with Pulock. He needs somebody who's more defensively responsible back there. That's not Noah Dobson's game. Noah Dobson is there to jump into the play. He and Pelech would be a good pair. They need someone whose forte is defense. That'd be Pulock. Pair him up with Romanov. Maybe something will rub off on him. Maybe get Chara back as a position coach. Teach him you need how to play position. Because Chara did that. He did that. He'd say, hey, kid, you need to, be closer to the net.
What the fuck is that?
He's always out of position. He's always out of position.
Yeah, no, he is. That is concerning. The thing that's concerning is more he's played 154 games in his NHL career. You look at Noah Dobson on the other hand, he's like 180 something. So, right, the games played.
Dobson is better positionally in the defensive zone than Romanov is.
I'm sorry, total games played for Dobson 197. I apologize. So 197, including postseason games. Dobson, I'd say, as a complete defenseman, is miles ahead of Alexander Romanov.
Yes.
Miles, not even close. And right, the future $10 million man, Grump, the future $10 million man is still on pace to have 20 goals this season, 17 games played, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points.
I agree with you about
$10 million man.
I agree with you about the $10 million because if he saves his money up from these contracts, he'll have $10 million in the bank. I agree.
I'm telling you, he's going to get himself a contract that's paying $10 million a year. We're going to be sitting there. I promise you. I guarantee it, Grumpy. And even if it's 9.5, I'm still taking credit like it's a $10 million man. Anyway.
Okay.
Yes. But yes, Dobson playing well. There is that pairing needs to continue to improve. I was going to say earlier, Pelech and Pulock haven't looked great shakes necessarily. They've looked okay. They haven't looked great though. And, it's been the fantastic goalie play that has masked up some of these mistakes, that have concealed these mistakes. Because here's the thing. If our goalies were giving up goals on these opportunities, all of these defensive mistakes and defensive woes would be magnified. We'd be saying, God damn it, Pulock, why did you turn this puck over and pass it right through the middle of the ice? Scott Mayfield, why did you take that tripping penalty and then, Clutterbuck takes a hook and we give up another 5-on-3 goal and lose a game?
I mean, and it's the forward group as well. It's like the center of the ice is just open a lot, particularly in transition and teams with speed. I mean, it just is what it is. And I mean, the whole thing is, I don't know if there's anything you can do to improve that if you want to keep your offense moving. So maybe Pulock and Pelech have not been as bad as we think. Because, hey, we're always trying to engage someone on the offensive end. I mean, they're getting caught up because, hey, they're not the most fleet of foot. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why they're
hang on to win. They won 3-4.
I apologize for that, Grumpy. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I was getting the next item loaded up and it just started playing. But I think you're right. I think that is a possibility if we are giving up more chances. We're trying to be more offensive minded. The guys who were the steady Eddie defensive defensemen, they may be in a position where they're kind of being left, high to dry or having that mentality that's a little different. But yeah, let's take a look here. For those who watched the game this Saturday with us, the Islanders played the Columbus Blue Jackets, the miserable, miserable Columbus Blue Jackets. We want to
They
play
are
in
terrible.
overtime.
They had 3 defensemen.
Yeah, we want to, and in overtime they rolled out 3 forwards. So, and that that was the biggest lack
And
of
the
effort.
most offensively responsible forward was Johnny Gaudreau, if you can imagine that.
Yes. So they're in big trouble. But this is what happened to Johnny Gaudreau. He was booed in UBS Arena. We'll let you listen to it in case you didn't get to watch the game live.
Hang on to win. They won 4-2, but it was 3-2. Makes you wonder, why can't you play the 4 defenseman more?
Here's Boone Jenner into the front off the skate of Pellick, handed off for Beauvillier. Ryan Pullock joining the rush. Beauvillier off the glass, just onside, and he goes into the forecheck. Bean moved it quickly to Line A on the right wing with a pass for Gaudreau, and Gaudreau will flip this one in.
You can hear the boos, boo, any single time Gaudreau touches the puck. And this is what Johnny Gaudreau had to say about it. I don't get it. I didn't talk to the Islanders once throughout the whole free agency.
There you go. So Lou Lamoriello is feeding you a line of shit.
Remember that special business meeting that, Lou wanted to drive up the prices. He didn't think anybody could fit our team, but he wanted to drive up the prices on other teams so that, they'd have to pay more for these players.
He's full of shit. He's a liar. He's just a liar. He's feeding you shit on toast and saying, yum, yum, eat it up.
When you see that, what's your thought process through that, Grumpy, when you see this right here? Because it was by a lot of people, by NHL pundits, all these people, the Islanders, that it makes sense. It seems like they would be in on a guy like this. Lou works quiet, and this is a guy that we really think the Islanders are in on.
If you speak the truth, you don't have to worry about getting caught in a lie. Why don't you just say, yeah, we didn't feel like he was a fit for our team. Okay, then people will rip you for that, but at least you're being truthful, because now, not only did you not think he was a good fit for your team, you didn't even talk to him. You said you drove up the price on him. You didn't even talk
not him
to
per se. It was driving up the price on free agents, plural.
He didn't do anything. You know what else? He didn't even talk to Kadri either. He didn't talk to him either.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Anything. He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't believe anything comes out of his mouth. Why does Johnny Gaudreau, why does it benefit him to lie about something like that?
There's no way he's lying about this at all.
No.
None at all.
There's no benefit to him. He could care less about the Islanders. He's been booed before. The Devils supposedly went after him. We don't know if that's true or not. But you don't hear the Devils GM saying, yeah, we drove up the price on these free agents. You didn't hear him saying that. When Lamoriello says that, he's just being disingenuous. He's lying.
Did you hear the Devils fans booing Johnny Gaudreau? I want to talk about our fans for a second, too. Did you hear the Devils fans booing Johnny Gaudreau when he was touching the puck every time?
No, but you know what? When you only got 3 losses on the season, and you're dominant. And here's the thing. They're dominating opponents every night. They're not, okay, we're getting run out of the rink the first 2 periods, and then we, have a furious comeback in the third. They're kicking everybody's butt. The Devils are good. I missed the boat on that one.
I didn't think they would be this good, but I did tell you they were going to step forward. I did tell you that was a team that I thought was a dark horse to make it into the playoffs, right with the Islanders.
They look like freaking Secretariat or Man of War out there now. They're good. They're good. They're young. They're fast. And, they got Marino from Pittsburgh and getting Dougie Hamilton back. I know that Blackburn's injured, so they might have an injury issue going forward.
Vitek Vanacek's the goalie.
Vanacek's just okay. I think it's 1A and 1B, they're okay. I still don't think their goaltending is that great. That's one of those ones, man, what would they be if they had Sorokin, right? I mean, they'd be almost unbeatable.
Really? I mean, like they've
The
got 3
Devils?
losses. They've
The
got 3
Devils?
losses on the season. They've
Well,
got 3
I mean,
losses.
the Devils are good by every single metric that the analytics geeks want to read off to you. They're the best team in the league. And if they had a phenomenal goaltending, I mean, Sorokin goaltending, they'd never lose. I mean, they were impressive. Now I don't even okay. Remember when I said, "Man, maybe the Islanders are pretty sucky because the Devils just ran them out of the rink." Well, they're running everybody out of the rink.
I wanna drop something by with you before I use the restroom. Now,
Oh, please don't tell me you're going to use the restroom.
I'm gonna use the
Don't you
restroom.
tell me.
I'm gonna use the restroom, bro.
Shit.
You can keep just sucking down your purple drink. I don't know where the hell you put it,
Then
but
I'm
you
going
can.
to start making some purple drink because I ain't
So
got
I'm
much
gonna
left
leave. I'm
now.
gonna
That's
leave
all
you.
I
I'm
got
gonna leave
left.
you with. I'm gonna leave you with a thought. The Vancouver Canucks are struggling. I could care less about the team struggles, but the Vancouver Canucks are struggling heavily. The rumors are Horvat, he's done as a Canuck. People on podcasts, Vancouver podcasts are talking about. They mentioned Josh Bailey, maybe for a guy like Bo Horvat, would offer trade and value. Now, let me ask you this. Bailey's been healthy scratched a few times here this year. I don't think he's got that type of value. Hold on, let me finish. But yes, you heard me right. Vancouver Canucks based podcast are talking about, hey, wouldn't it be a good idea to trade Bo Horvat for Josh Bailey? I know they don't watch Islanders games. That's why they're on board for something like that. But my question is this. If Bo Horvat is cheap enough and they start doing a fire sale, and he's a guy that they're down on, I mean, like, would that be a guy you'd be willing to go ahead and, to ask about or to inquire about? From my standpoint, we're never going to do that because we didn't even speak. We didn't even, just to put this back to Johnny Gaudreau for a second, we did not even speak to Johnny Gaudreau. And here we are, it makes you kind of wonder a little bit about where the priorities are. Didn't even bother calling him up on the phone to say, hey, would you maybe be interested to come on the island? But do you think a guy like Horvat would be an okay fit for us here?
Yeah, he's a guy who needs to change the scenery. I can't believe anyone would say Bo Horvat for Josh Bailey. I mean, if that's actually an offer, I don't know why that deal's not done. He's 25 years old. I'd even throw Beauvillier in. I mean, maybe he needs a change of scenery too, right? I just don't want to trade draft picks. That's the only. I mean, it's not like, okay, yeah, we'll give up a first round pick and Bailey in a second. No, because he's not playing well enough right now. You don't buy high on a guy that the other team should have to sell low because he's not performing. So you don't do that. But Bo Horvat absolutely would fit the description of the type of player that I'd like for the Islanders. If you're going to make a deal, you don't make a deal for a guy who's in his 30s. You do it for somebody who's younger and can have a chance to grow with the core. I'd love to see him play a wing with Matt Barzal. I just think anything that you can do to increase the potential of the top line by getting top line caliber talent, you do. And it's obvious, like I said just before, that Horvat needs a change of scenery. And I mean, if you got to move Bailey, and even if you have to move Beauvillier and a Simon Holmstrom, whatever, that's worth doing. Because, I mean, he has a little bit more contract and more term. But if you can free up some money, I'm all for that. I don't see anything wrong with that. Obviously, even though some of these podcasts for the Vancouver Canucks obviously haven't watched Josh Bailey play, but I'm going to assume that the Canucks general manager has, and he's going to say, no, that's not a deal we consider making. But yeah, anytime you can move a veteran off for a younger guy, I'm usually all for that. And for Bo Horvat, yeah, that's definitely worth giving a shot to. I'm interested to see what he's making dollar amount wise and how much his cap hit is going to be. Let's see now. TJ hates when I do this because I don't do it supposedly as fluidly as he does. But I'm going to say that Bo Horvat he's in the last year. He's 27 years old. Last year of a $5.5 million contract. Why would you not make that deal if you could move him off for Josh Bailey? Absolutely. It's only an extra $500,000. And you know what? If he performs extremely well, great. You know what that means? That means that you can try to re-sign him in the offseason. That's a guy I wouldn't mind re-signing in the offseason. He's only 27. Okay. And, so he'll be 28 in April. So, but yeah, that's the type of guy I go after. Not a guy like was looking at before JT Miller. No, not looking at that. And they're not going to move JT Miller either. If they do a fire sale, you got to look at the guys that they're not going to move, right? Vancouver's not going to move Pedersen. They're not going to move Miller. There was rumors that they would move Connor Garland. That's another guy that I would be interested in kicking the tires on, to be honest with you. He's not even making $5 million per, and he's got, including this year, 4 more years left on that deal, 26 years old. They're not going to sign Mikheyev, who they signed for Toronto.
Mahayev, yeah.
Right. They're not going to re-sign. They're not going to trade him. But, if they're looking to move some big end contracts like a Connor Garland and a Bo Horvat, absolutely, I'm kicking the tires on that. Absolutely.
The rumor is it's coming there from it's coming from Craig Button saying that Bo Horvat's done in Vancouver. That's where it's coming from. Bo Horvat, he's
the leading scorer. He's the leading scorer.
Correct. Well, think about it from Vancouver's standpoint. He's a guy who's a leading scorer on a cheap contract that's expiring at the end of this year, who they're probably not going to be able to re-sign. They need to gather draft. The price, right? I don't think he's going to be cheap. That's why I said, what do you think the price is going to be? Because you look at Horvat's numbers, he's been a guy that's consistently around 50, 60 points a year. This year, right? What?
He's a captain, too.
Correct. He's the captain. This year, right, he got 20 points in 17 games, 14 goals, right? He's on pace. And, of course, a contract season, he's on pace to go ahead and set career numbers for himself.
He's 27.
Correct.
That's a guy I'm willing to roll the dice on. I mean, the thing, Josh Bailey for him.
Okay, I'm just saying a podcast had mentioned that. I figured you would like it. Whoa, Bailey off the books. That's why I mentioned that. I wasn't mentioning it to say, that's the rumor. I'm just saying a podcast from Vancouver said that, Grump.
Okay. For me, you have to, if you have to move him, how about Beauvillier and Bailey for Horvat? Would you do that?
Vancouver's going to want they're in a rebuild. They're rebuilding. Why the fuck would they want Beauvillier and Bailey? Let's put the shoe on the other foot. Why would they want that? What would be worthwhile for Vancouver, Grump?
I don't think anything that they get is going to get what he's worth. They got to be looking at least for 2 firsts for him. He's a character player. He's 27 years old in the prime of his career. He's one of the leading goal scorers in the league. They're going to want a lot for him. Certainly more than we have. I mean, why would they move him at all? Craig Button saying he's on the way out. Well, shit. Who's going to trade for him? You know the type of team that would trade for him? Tampa. That's the type of team that would trade for him.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. But like you said, why would they move him? Because they're not re-signing him. They're on a team that's in a freaking rebuild. And you look at Vancouver, which may be actually shocking to you, Grumpy, when you think about Vancouver, right? They haven't been fantastic. But look at this. Since 2020, the last 3 years in the NHL draft, they've only had 1 first-round pick in the last 3 years. They have not been a fantastic team over that time frame. They've had 1 first-round pick and 1 second-round pick. They've had 2 picks in the last 3 years in the top 2 rounds. It's not like they've been continually loading the cupboards with young prospects and talent. That's not what they've been doing.
So they've been, in essence, trading draft picks to add pieces to try to make a Stanley Cup run. And you're seeing what happens when that bottoms out. Okay. I'd say that their younger talent is better than our younger talent, particularly offensively. If I'm them, I'm not moving Horvat. He's a building block piece. I try to move everybody else. I mean, what about Brock Besser?
They just signed him to a contract extension. They're not moving Brock Besser.
Okay. But I mean, Pedersen's not going anywhere. Certain guys are building block pieces. Those aren't the guys you trade.
They've had all these building block pieces and they don't get wins. So something needs to change. Pieces need to go. It's as simple as that. Things need to change.
Well, I mean, he's the captain.
Okay. Because he's been there the longest.
Okay.
That's why.
Everything you hear,
Because he's young. He was younger there and he's been there the longest. That's why he's the captain.
but everything you hear about him is that he's a really high character guy, a blood and guts player. Isn't that what you need? Those are just guys I'm not moving.
I'm just telling. Okay, okay, you're getting stuck on the wrong point. Doesn't matter what your opinion is on that. Craig Button says he's leaving. I'm asking how that applies to the Islanders. I'm not saying let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks for 15 minutes.
It doesn't apply at all.
The article's already going around on social media and on the articles, Grumpy, to saying, are the Islanders possibly a player for Bo Horvat?
The Islanders are not a player. Because for them to be a player, Lou Lamoriello always has to overpay. So let's say a normal team would have to give up 2 number ones for Horvat. Lamoriello would have to find a way to come up with another 2 to go with the next 2 years worth of ones. So he'd have to probably trade 4 ones for him because he overpays on every single deal he makes now.
Just to put it in perspective, we gave up a first and a second round pick for Jean Gabriel Pageau.
For a third liner.
For that, yes.
This guy's a bona fide first line player.
Yes, Grumpy. He is. What I was going to say there is, too, this guy, much more proven track record than Jean Gabriel Pageau. We gave up a first and a second for a guy like Jean Gabriel Pageau. I think he's just out of the ask. He's just out of the range for us. I don't think we've got the firepower to trade for a guy like that. If we did, we would be parting ways with players that I'm sure young players that our team is excited about and our fan base is excited about. We do not usually win trades. We also, I think, don't inquire too often about potential players and potential picks or potential fits for us. I just don't think we do. Again, like I'll hit it one more time. I just cannot believe Lou Lamoriello did not call Johnny Gaudreau once the entire offseason. Not even one phone call. Not one inquiry. Not one.
Well, he said he didn't talk to him. Doesn't mean his agent didn't talk to him. Maybe the agent called Lou and Lou said, "Oh, we'll offer you $8 million." He just, yeah, okay, bye. You know, maybe it was something like that. He only $9 million a year. All he took. He took $2.5 million a year less than he would have got paid in Calgary for an extra year as well. I mean, he didn't get offered more than that. He went to freaking Columbus.
I would assume you talk about the agent, right? Let's play this out. Maybe he contacted the agent. Well, the agent's job is to make sure he keeps his players marketable as possible, as many options open for his player, making sure they get paid. And if you have any legitimate option or any legitimate inquiry, you're going to have him talk to the player as well. For him not talking to the player, whatever, I think you're looking at it, you're getting stuck in the weeds on that. He didn't talk to him once, which I'm just kind of shocked about. I just don't think we inquire too much about options that we have available to us or things that we can make. Ideas that we can go ahead and put in place to improve the team. I don't think we're very creative on that side.
No, we're not. I agree.
Yes, Grump. I'll let you go ahead and get your drink. I'm going to go ahead and read the ad. I'll let you get some grape drinks up and going. We've got an ad to read today, Grumpy Old Man. And as always, it's from our friends at DraftKings. Let me get that pulled up. I think we're talking a little bit of NFL action. Who doesn't love some NFL? Oops. Oh man, I tell you, I should have probably had this prep beforehand. So many apologies. Okay, gotcha. What month are we in? Okay, we're in November. I tell you, it has been a long week. But NFL Sundays are only getting better. And so are the incredible offers at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Check this out. Right now, everybody can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place a same game parlay and combine multiple bets, like which team will win, player props, and point totals. So you could go ahead and say, hey, I think Jonathan Taylor is going to rush for a touchdown. Not only that, I think that the Indianapolis Colts are going to win. So you can go ahead and add up many different items to your bet to increase the payout. With bigger payouts than ever, DraftKings is my go-to when betting on the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and place a $5 pregame money line bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes in the description for additional details. And let's jump into a few comments. Yes, I know I was running late. TJ time, as always. Nick C says, TJ is on a bathroom break. That's why he's late again. What do you think Grump thinks about as he waits for him? You know, just to speak about this, we'll usually run late, but we always try to make sure we're on the same page, and we'll try to talk a little bit beforehand as to what we're going to speak on the show, just so I don't completely blindside him with my thoughts of how I want to lead the show. D-Cut says millennials cannot tell time. Yes, I struggle with that. What's up, Scott? How are you? Hunter says people need to understand that this luck we have right now isn't going to stick around for long. I do think we're a playoff team, but borderline at best. Hunter, I 100% agree with you. I think we're a team that we've been very reliant, just as we mentioned, on fantastic goaltending. We've had a lot of late game heroics. We've had a few items that have benefited us regarding our scheduling and regarding the opponents we've played so far this year. I think that we really need to get an early lead for this season because as the year gets tougher, as injuries start to compile, we can definitely be in a situation where we're duking it out at the end of the year for one of those last playoff spots. I don't think we're a team that's going to win the division. I don't think we're that good. Tom B says, is it midnight yet? Oh, goodness. Scott L said, supposedly Bo Horvat is done in Vancouver. Do you think Lou makes a deal for him? We answered that one, and I didn't see the comment earlier, but no, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to be a real player for him. But yes, he is apparently done per Craig Button and per others. He is done in Vancouver. Lou R said, hello, Grumpy. Your Devils suck is not aging well for now. I told Grumpy he was wrong as soon as he said that.
That's like 15-day-old fish. No.
15-day-old fish has been baking in the sun. Just
15-day-old fish. Fish doesn't last very long.
I wanted to take it one step further.
I don't need. You know what? Here's one thing I noticed. I take off my camera and my sound for a second, and TJ just lost. It took him 7 minutes to read a 30-second ad.
It didn't take me 7 minutes. I was trying. How many fucking drinks did it take? How long did it take you to prep the drink? 3 fucking minutes? Did you have to freaking unbutton your pants to freaking goddamn make some grape drink in that freaking?
I went to the bathroom as well.
Oh, and there he is. He went to the bathroom as well.
What the hell? TJ does it 15 times a podcast. I'll do it once a year.
I feel like you ate. Did you eat some like salty, like Chinese food or something like that? And that's why you're drinking like a camel.
Actually, I had some chicken tenders today for dinner.
Wow, the healthy dinner of champions. Oh, we didn't say this. But next Wednesday, Grump and I are going to be podcasting. We're going to go live from the same location. Dun dun dun. But yeah, we'll probably be in different rooms or have it set up a little different. I don't know how we're going to get that set up logistic wise, but logic wise. But we'll get it done nonetheless. We're going to have. I forgot to tell you this, Grumpy. Greg Prado is coming on next Wednesday. Listeners of the show, Greg Prado is coming on next Wednesday. We're going to be talking Islanders hockey and some classic rock, something I'm very well versed in. That's all you have to say on that, Grump? Just, what's going on, Grumpy?
Everyone knows.
Get 3 hours of sleep or something?
It's comical when you say that you're an expert on anything, honestly.
Grumpy, did you not get enough sleep last night?
I did get enough sleep.
Doesn't seem like you're all here.
I'm waiting. I just find if I'm just listening to you and chuckling at some of the things that you say.
Usually you're combative. You're a little feisty. You don't seem like that. You seem very reserved.
You've been so bad today on all fronts that it's like beating a dead horse now, isn't it?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I can't even comprehend that, Grump.
There you go.
Just sit back and just sit back and just continue coasting, Grumpy. That's fine. The Islanders 91 says Barzy's years with lower total goals or Tavares years with all of his goals. Bars a year. I don't even know what that means.
I mean, neither.
I don't understand anyone. I cannot understand. I apologize. Decut says TJ rode the little yellow bus as a kid.
Me.
I love how you could chime in on that one though. Coach Tommy B said, "Good evening, gents. Are 11-6 New York Islanders." Yep. Frank K says, "Hey, gents, definitely surprised that the Islanders are 11-6, finding ways to win." Decut was announced as president of the Matt Barzal fan club. Okay.
Not only is he a member of Islanders Misery Rated R, he's also president of the Matt Barzal fan club. He's moving up.
How long that took you to remember, Grumpy? I'll tell
I
you.
keep on saying it should be.
Well, hold on. You've been doing this for 3 years. It's like you're half awake right now. Do you need to take a 10-minute hour nap?
You know what? Here's the thing. I don't say it wrong. I maybe hesitate a little bit.
How the hell could you hesitate over that?
I don't know. Like I said, the same thing as UBS USB Arena. What's the difference?
God almighty. You're driving me nuts.
Just corporate sponsorship is all it is.
We could do a 2 a.m. show. I'd probably be up and around by then. Eve L says, "What with the Bo Horvat rumors?"
He'll go to a good team. He'll go to a good team.
He's going to cost, I feel like, a lot. He's going to cost an arm and a leg. And here's the thing. If I'm Vancouver, I'm willing to retain half of his cap hit.
Why would they do that?
If it gets a higher return for you, I would do that. It's only okay. Vancouver's not competing for a playoff spot this year. They could say, "Yeah, I'm going to retain $2.75 million." He's on an expiring contract.
We could have done that.
If you could say to a team that wants to buy Bo Horvat, "We're going to allow you to buy Bo Horvat on a 1-year contract, and it's going to cost you $2.75 million against the cap." For a team that's up against the cap space, that's up against the cap ceiling, that's fantastic. I'd go ahead and retain half the cap hit if I'm Vancouver and get more back in return.
Okay. We were in that position last year. We didn't do anything.
I know. Vancouver, I'm going with the assumption that their general manager is smarter than ours.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
I tell you. Matthew S. said, "Is it too early to talk contract construction for Ilya Sorokin?" I'd say 8 years times $7.5 million. He's going to get paid more than that.
I don't know. That sounds actually pretty good.
He's going to get paid more than that.
More than so he's almost doubling his salary. And for 8 years,
you do this shit, and these Islander fans do not understand anything about contract negotiations. Not a damn thing. I hate to be that guy, but they don't. If you look at the comparisons of what players make around them in the league. That's how they look at it. They don't say, "Well, I was making $4 million, so let's just double that and call it a day." That's not how that works.
How much does Bobrovsky make? $10 million a year?
I'll pull it up for us. Bobrovsky is making $10 million a year.
How about Shesterkin?
Okay. It's different when you talk about Shesterkin because of when he signed the contract. They bought out years of restricted free agency. There will be no years of restricted free agency to buy out with Sorokin.
Unrestricted. You mean unrestricted free agency?
They bought out years where he was a restricted free agent. No, they bought out years of restricted free agency.
Okay.
When he signed this contract.
Okay. The key is buying out years of unrestricted free agency is what makes the price higher, or you can, over the term, and you pay them a lot more than they would make as a restricted free agent if you're buying out unrestricted free agency years. You don't understand.
Bought out. No, I completely understand. Your verbiage is fucked. They bought out Grumpy Old Man. When he signed that contract, he had 2 years as a restricted free agent left, and they bought out their 2 years of unrestricted free agency.
Okay, so it's the 2 years of unrestricted free agency what they bought out, not restricted free agency. It's the unrestricted free agency they were buying out.
You're exasperating. That being said,
and now you wonder why I chuckle, because you get everything wrong. Everything.
5.6 million AAV is what he makes. This is before he won the Vezina and before he came bursting onto the scene. But he makes 5.6 million, and his contract will expire the year after Sorokin extends his.
He'll be a
So
$10
it's pretty much whatever Sorokin gets. I think Shesterkin's going to get similar to that. Because if you look at the leaders in the league regarding AAV, and I'll pull it up on screen, Grump, I would say Sorokin's a top 3 goalie in the NHL. He's going to get paid like it. Carey Price is getting paid $10.5 million.
If they had approached him instead of foolishly signing him to a contract that brings him right up to unrestricted free agency, if Lamoriello was smart, he would have negotiated a longer term deal where he could have bought out years of unrestricted free agency by paying more than the $4 million a year that he's paid for him being a restricted free agency the last 2 years. Maybe if he would have offered him 7.5 for 8 years 2 years ago, maybe he would have signed it then. I think he'll get more than that. Yes.
So again, as the cap goes up, goalies will get paid more. Sorokin's a top 3 goalie in the NHL. He's going to want to get paid like a top 3 goalie in the NHL. Bobrovsky, when he signed that contract, was a top 3 goalie in the NHL. Carey Price, when he signed that contract, was a top tier goalie in the NHL. Andrei Vasilevsky, when he signed that contract, top tier goalie in the NHL. Do not expect anything different from Sorokin. He is going to get his ass paid. Expect it around this area here, if not maybe higher.
They paid Vasilevsky before they had to. And that number was still high because of what they bought out, because he was just that good.
And they've also won cups. They also won cups with him beforehand.
I'm just going to say another thing, that Sorokin, in a big game, I'm still taking Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky has a proven track record as a big game goalie. And I'm not saying that Sorokin's not, but he hasn't proved that yet because we haven't been in any of those games. Not with him as goalie.
Okay, but again, like I think that doesn't necessarily go to the point of what we're talking about. When they're looking at it, they're going to look at where he is compared in the league. Vasilevsky, top 3 goalie in the NHL. Sorokin, top 3 goalie in the NHL. Years later, after this has been signed, Vasilevsky signed his in 2020, that contract. So we're in a spot to where Sorokin doesn't sign his contract extension until, next year. Or, I guess if they work on it a little early. But he's going to get his ass paid. Expect around $9 million, if not more, is what the AAV is going to be if he stays healthy and continues to play like he is now. I seriously believe the way Sorokin's playing currently, he is a legitimate contender for the Vezina Trophy this season.
Okay, we'll see. It's a little early yet.
Do you disagree with that, or you just think
it's got to win? Team has to be a winner. You're not going to see somebody win a Vezina Trophy if you're 8th place in the standings. Not going to happen. Your team has to, and here's the thing, goalies who win Vezina trophies, usually their teams are good, because when you're good, you're not giving up a whole lot of goals. It's kind of a pyramid type thing. Goalies at the top of the pyramid.
John Smith said, with Shushnikov down, who's coming up? Grumpy's favorite, Casper Holmstrom. Casper Holmstrom.
He blows.
No, I figured that would put another smile.
He sucks and blows.
Oh, man, oh, man. Nick C. said, so TJ, what's the real reason we shouldn't enjoy the Islanders win?
He said, so what's the reason? Didn't say the real reason. What's the reason we shouldn't enjoy an Islanders win for the 11th time?
Okay, let me ask you this. When I read what's the real reason and what's the reason, how does that change the actual concept?
Why don't you just
it means the same thing.
Because he didn't say the real reason. And I think he's like TJ, so you've been so negative recently. What's the reason we shouldn't enjoy a win? Not the real reason. What's the reason? You understand? You totally changed the inflection of the question by adding a word that's not in there.
I did not change the inflection of that sentence.
You did.
Bowl to the shit, Grump. I don't think there's any reason not to enjoy wins. I'm just saying be cautiously optimistic. When we look at the Ottawa Senators, just take a look at where they are in the standings, right? You think to yourself, okay, oh, wait a second. The Ottawa Senators have the same exact amount of points as the Columbus Blue Jackets.
They suck.
We've played two absolutely dog shit miserable teams over the last few games, and we've squeaked away with victories. I thought we looked much better against the Senators than we did. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I think,
we did not look good against the Senators. I don't think we looked
better. Would you say we look better against the Senators than the Blue Jackets?
No. I thought we looked about the same.
Okay. I thought we looked a little better against the Senators than we did the Blue Jackets, but okay.
If it wasn't for Varlamov, we lose against the Senators. Period. I thought actually we probably played. I thought we played maybe better against Columbus than we did against Ottawa. I don't think we played well against Ottawa at all.
The only thing I would say, Nick, about these last few games, and we talk about this little winning streak or the games that we've won recently. The Blue, God Almighty, that freaking grapefruit, Grumpy. But the Blue Jackets, one of the worst teams in the NHL. Same thing with the Ottawa Senators, and we go further back, right? Then we were shut out by the Coyotes. Then we've got two, come from behind victories where we had to overcome 2-goal deficits in the third period to win against the Rangers and against the Flames. I'm just saying, we're looking at the last 4 games. We've won 4 of the last 5. There's some caveats you got to throw in there. There's some realistic facts. I just want to see us play good hockey. Early on in the season, the wins are not ultra important to me. I'm happy we're finding ways to win, and we need to amass wins, but I want to see the way the team plays. The last few times I don't think that we've played great hockey as of recent. Now over this stretch upcoming, all I give a shit about is getting points on the board, winning games. I don't care how we're doing it. We have to win games. It is imperative against this weak part of our schedule. Even if some of them look ugly, we need to win games against this stretch of teams.
True. 100% agree.
Yes. I just say take everything with a grain of salt. Yeah, Tommy B says Simon Holmstrom expected to be called up tomorrow by the Islanders. Oh no, Grumpy, you're gonna love it. Gungun says, have you good-looking chaps had a chance to check out the new fashions at the Isles Lab site? A few items put a twinkle in my eye.
No, I have not.
I get it pulled up, Grumpy, if you want to talk about
I'll take the next comment.
You see what I'm doing? What the fuck are you doing? Is there something wrong with you? Would you get a half a wink of sleep? What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm going to the next comment while you're doing whatever you're doing. Joe Biden goes to bed. TJ starts a show. That's TJ time. Actually, I think Biden's usually in bed by 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm going to say 5 after eating the early bird special down at whatever local restaurant he goes to. Frank Kaplan says Pajot is playing better. Are we starting to see the phasing out of Bailey? I think we are starting to see a little bit of phasing out of Bailey, which is a good thing. And Pajot has been okay.
Everybody's going to look, he scored. He did score that empty net goal. I do remember that in a recent game. And I think that he's a guy, he's not the same player when he first came to the island.
He's not.
I still think he's competent, right? He still does the job and serves a purpose, but he's not that same player.
True.
I'd be hard pressed. I think you'd be hard pressed trying to say he is.
He's on the wrong side of 30 now as well. D-Cut says spend less time messaging with the boring Phil's facts and that brain dead Andy Francis, and you may be only 15 minutes late, TJ. Mm-hmm. Interesting comment.
Oh, look at that. Look at this. I'm getting Anyway, what's
Fetterman time?
Philip N. Philip N. Grumpy. Come on, we're not talking. Keep yourself on track, huh? You complaining about that?
Well, then you know what? I'm going to handle the comments from now on. Philip N. says he wouldn't work well with Tom Coughlin. That's right. Coughlin time was 5 minutes early. Tommy Bappy says if
you want to start, hey, you're done. That's it. You're done. I want to show you, Grumpy. Did you not want to look at the freaking picture? This is what I mean. Did you not want to look at these pictures, huh?
No.
Do you not want to look at the rivals?
No.
Okay, don't worry about it then. Sorry, Goon. Your comment was not important enough for Grumpy to give a shit.
Well, he just asked if we saw it. The answer was no.
He saw a few that titillated his fancy, a few that put a twinkle in his eye. I figured we look at a few of them. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep going.
Tommy Bappy says, "If
Philly, we're not talking politics." Okay, okay, continue. I don't have a chance to read. We're not talking politics. We got a lot of comments. We're not talking politics.
Okay.
Declan F. Grump.
We talked about that one. Bo Horvat talked about it. Scott L says Lambert not afraid to scratch veterans, unlike the Armadillo. Very, very true. Tony G says Grumpy hates Philly probably as much as I hate Jersey. I don't know. I think I hate Philadelphia even more than that. Goon says 9-2 in the last 11. Are you both finally believers, TJ and Grumpy? If not, you're very hard men to please. I am very hard to please.
Did you not answer the question? I believe there's a question. Are you finally a believer, Grump?
No.
Okay.
No, I am hard to please. I answered the second part. If not, you're very hard men to please. Yes, I'm very hard to please. That should answer the question right there.
Okay.
If not, you're very hard to please. Yes,
I still remain. Was that?
yes, I'm very hard to please. So that means that I'm not finally a believer. Not yet.
Gungun, I would say I'm still cautiously optimistic. If we take care of the business over these next 8 games and do what we're supposed to, you have me believing. If we're in a spot to where we sputter and we go average against some of the bottom teams in the NHL, I'm going to be singing a little bit of a different tune. You got to take care of the business against the bottom tier teams. You can't come away with just average performance in this week stretch. And then we go to a very tough stretch.
It
But if
depends
they
on what.
do,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, if they do, you've got me as a believer. That's all.
It depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to win a Stanley Cup, I'm not a believer. If your goal is, hey, we can be a playoff team, then I'm close to being a believer of that.
I think if your goal is we want to be a playoff team, I think your goal is you're misguided.
Okay.
I swear to God, what's wrong with you? I don't
Nothing.
understand. Did somebody kick your son's dog?
No. You ready? Let's go to the next.
Is someone holding you at gunpoint, Grump, and we don't see him on camera? What's going on?
Nothing.
Oh my
David
God.
Pinchevsky says, I saw Holmstrom at Bridgeport. He looked good. He didn't look good a couple of times I saw him. He looked, no, sorry.
Hold on. I just put 2 and 2 together. The reason Grumpy is so tough and irritable and cantankerous right now is because Simon Holmstrom got called up to the NHL. I'm putting 2 and 2 together now. It's because Grump is now going to have to watch Simon Holmstrom when the guys like Phil Tomasino and Connor McMichael aren't really doing much right now. Kaliev is, but two of the three amigos are struggling. So Grumpy is upset.
You've already proved that you can't read. You can't tell time. Now you're going to – do you want to add inability to produce arithmetic as well? You're able to add these things up. I'm going to say you got that wrong as well. So now you can't. You cannot deduce math functions. You can't tell time, and you can't read.
I'm able to deduce, Grumpy, that you're upset because Simon Holmstrom got called up. You were in a friendly demeanor until I told you that before the show started.
So
your complete demeanor changed.
So you're not Sherlock Holmes either. Yet another failure on your part. Okay.
Grumpy, I am. They compare me to the modern day defensive back Cooper, damn it. And if you don't believe that, you got a problem, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
D-Cut says, TJ, bring up the Gaudreau story, you bald-headed stooge.
We got to that. John Smith said, there's nothing about Holmstrom getting called up on Cap Friendly. Where did you guys hear that? Well, I guess the reason they had moved Shishnikov down to the A was to move him up because he was healthy scratch. So maybe I'm putting the carriage before the horse. But tomorrow we're going to see Simon Holmstrom. There's been a move to call Simon Holmstrom up to the NHL roster. That's at least what all the individuals are saying who have the inside information or who are privy to the situation.
Okay.
And David P says, remember, free agents don't want to go to any New York team. Oh, because of the tax. Oh, God.
Well, you know what? But seriously, though, if you go to a region of the country where the taxes are a lot higher, would you rather go somewhere else where a team is just as good, where you don't have to pay as much tax? I mean, that's just smart business.
Money in your pocket. Yeah. Tony Cheese says, I don't understand why we need Soviet era like propaganda surrounding our off seasons. That's a good question.
Very true.
You think about it to where they were, oh no, we drove the price up. We did this. We were so valiant in our off season attempts. Apparently not. I don't know. That bothers me.
There's nothing wrong with saying this is what we're looking for. We're looking to do this, that, and the other thing. When you don't do anything like Lamoriello does, and then you lie about it by saying you did do something, it just makes you look bad. Just tell the truth. Just say, you know what? I plan on taking this summer off. I'm 80 years old. I have nothing to prove. I've won 4 Stanley Cups, according to John Ledecky. So, I'm not going to do anything this summer. I'm just going to collect a paycheck till I can hand the job over to Fredo. Why don't just be honest and say that?
Joseph C. says, a couple years ago, me and a few friends flew up other Ranger fans in Phillies. Flew up with other Ranger fans in Phillies. My buddy threw nachos at Gritty, and it was all over his costume. I loved it. Oh, God, that freaking costume.
I think the Flyer fans hate Gritty as well.
D-Cut. Oh, man, the burger there. Yeah, McRibs. Apparently McRibs are back there. And Brian P. said, anybody who believes Lou drove up prices should be shot with a ball of shit.
True. How do you drive up the price?
True.
How do you drive up the price when a guy takes $2.5 million less than he was offered? That's not driving up the price. Right? I mean, let's be honest. He was offered 11.5 by Calgary. He signs for 9. How the hell did you drive the price up?
Oh, I tell you. Mr. Jansman said, TJ gets off to a slow start, just like the Islanders.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. I like it. Oh, man. Tony Cheese did pose a good question. Why are you throwing nachos at an underpaid employee in a hot and uncomfortable mascot costume?
He's a Rangers fan.
There it is. Goon says, Grumpy, I think you would do a better job than Lou Lamoriello. Perhaps just show up at the Islanders office and tell them you're Lou, and maybe they'll believe you're him, and you can make some quick wheeling and dealing.
Actually, I think that's a wise choice. I could buzz my head and just go, Shannon. Actually, I'd have to take Jake along with me, and I could just move my lips and he could do the talking.
You could just go ahead and put him you could put him on speakerphone in your pocket. You move your lips and he'll do all the talking for you.
That's right.
Tommy B says, having the best goaltending can take you a long way. It can.
It absolutely can.
Look at that Montreal team a few years ago when they had a healthy Carey Price and how far he took Montreal by himself. So you're right. If you've got fantastic goaltending, you absolutely can. But
to win a cup, though,
you need more.
The best teams win the cup. It's not one guy.
You can have really hot goaltending, but it only goes so far.
Yeah.
Matthew S. says, regardless of whether Johnny Gaudreau never had talks with the Islanders, it's the fact that he's saying it's a malpractice on Lou's part. That being said, Gaudreau and his agent are idiots.
Maybe they just didn't want to go to play for the Islanders. There's a lot of teams that say, they get offered a lot more money, maybe, and this is in all sports. Some crappy team will offer them a ridiculous amount of money. Like, I'm not going to play in that dumpster fire. And I'm not saying the Islanders are like that, but you see that a lot. So, if a player I'm looking for this, that, and the other thing, they don't match what he's looking for. He doesn't even talk to them. I mean, that's very possible. This is the only time he's going to get to pay big money. This is it for him. He's done. He's not going to sign another contract, not like this. I mean, right? He's going to be 36 when this contract is up. So, wherever he signs next, he's not going to be able to have his pick of the litter, shall I say.
I mean, he's going to be at a spot like that where he's just an auxiliary piece. He's just an addition. That's all he would be at that point at 30.
He's not like he's going to have every team wanting him.
I'm not sure about that. He's just going to be in a spot where he's not going to be making as much money, and he's going to be in a position where he wants to find the best fit for him. And I think any team would say, yeah, we can use a Johnny Gaudreau as a third line streaky scorer at 36, 37 years old. The same way teams found a use for a guy like Zach Parise if he's willing to be one of those guys who's, a third line guy, Grump.
We'll see. Like I said, this was his big kick at the can. This is it. So I'm sure he had a checklist of things he was looking at. Wife wants to work at Columbus General. I mean, whatever. But he took a lot less money to leave Calgary. I mean, your career is short. I think for any athlete, you should try to get as much money as you can because you never know when you're not going to be able to make it anymore. And when your career is over, it's over.
Tony Cheese said, I don't like how Lou's eyes are so far apart. Makes me think he's one of those lizard alien shapeshifters that control the country. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, she's like a snake.
Oh, good gracious.
Eyes over here.
Tommy B says, anybody who believes anything Gaudreau says is gullible. He claimed Columbus was where he wanted to go at his presser. Enough said. Well, I think that's more of just one of those items to where they say, hey, oh, I'm so happy to be. It's like when a college coach says, this is my dream job. I'm so happy to be coaching at the University of Pittsburgh. It's my dream job to be the head coach at Arizona State. It's nobody's dream job.
Maybe he made the mistake of not picking New Jersey, who we know are in on him.
Yes.
Over Columbus.
Yep.
Now I want to hear if the Jersey fans boo him when he goes there.
I'm sure
if he
not.
says, I never talked to them. Yeah, they don't give a shit. They're winning.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Islanders fans, for the most part, have inferiority complex, without a doubt, where it's being, the Rangers in the same area, but always it's like, I just don't buy into that, but a lot of Islander fans have that.
That's what I was about to say. That's why I brought up us booing him. I wonder if the Devils, who we knew were legitimately in on him, if the Devil fans, and you said, oh, they've only got 3 losses, no reason to boo. Even other teams that were in on, I wonder if Calgary's going to boo him every time he touches. Boo.
Calgary will boo him.
They have a right to boo him, I think.
Yes.
But
you know what? No. See, I don't even look at it that way. All right.
They have more of a right to boo him than he did.
That's true. It's like, I don't understand the hatred for Tavares still.
Speaking of, go ahead.
It's a long time ago. I mean, let it go. Like the Ranger fans ripping Potvin. I mean, it's so long ago.
It's like, do you remember when John Tavares was a free agent that offseason? The teams that were in on him supposedly were the San Jose Sharks, the New York Islanders, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. It would be like San Jose Shark fans booing John Tavares the first time he played in San Jose. He never played for your freaking team just because you thought that you were in the running to sign him as a free agent and he didn't sign with you. Doesn't mean you go boo every time you see him. Like, come on. I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
D-Cut saying, where's Pallon? We got to get Pallon on. I've reached back out to him. We reached out a few times. Joseph C says, although I like Philly, the food is good. Center City and the 9th Street Market are good. I just hate their sports teams and all their dumb mascots. Yeah, their mascots are awful. The Philly Fanatic. I mean, Gritty. Yikes, Grump. Yikes.
That's what most of the women look like in that area.
Oof. What's up, Frank? How are you? And I tell you, it's something else.
Big and hairy. Big and hairy.
Nick C says,
with long tongues.
We're definitely
eyes.
We're definitely a team.
Ugly.
Finish. I want to hear the rest of it. Was that?
No, just go. No. I just wanted to run Philadelphia down because I hate Philadelphia.
Nick C says, we're definitely a team that plays to the level of our opponents. High floor, low ceiling kind of feeling.
Yeah.
You feel that, Grump?
Yeah, a little bit. At least we're winning. At least we're winning. I mean, at the end of the day, when they look at your record, you are what your record says it is. So I just say right now, we have to make sure these next, 8 games, got to win 6.
I'm not even sure that's the case. I don't have that feeling to us. We got steamrolled by the Florida Panthers both times we played. We're always going to play the Rangers tough. Always, always, always. We didn't look like we were on the same playing field as the Devils, right? That was earlier on this year. When we got beat by the Lightning, we didn't look like we were in the same playing field. When you look at the games we won, I think we beat the Hurricanes. That was the best game. I still think that was the best, most complete game we played all year, is when the Islanders beat the Hurricanes 6-2. When we came back to beat the Avalanche, the Avalanche were just blanked the night before. They were shut out by the Devils, and then we came back to score 4 goals in the third period to beat them. So I wouldn't necessarily say, we looked dominant or we played up to their level of competition. They just kind of collapsed. When we played, the Blues are one of the worst teams in the NHL. The Flames were on a 5-game losing streak when we played them. Again, the Rangers, we always play them tough. But, the really good teams, I'd say, besides I think the Rangers will always play tough, but a lot of the good teams that aren't the Rangers, I don't think necessarily we've played up to them. I think we've had spurts where we just look dominant for a time period of a period, and we score points in masses, score goals in masses over that time.
I'd even make the argument that a lot of the games we won for 2 periods, 2.25 periods, we were outplayed by those teams as well.
Mm.
I mean, hey, Brock Nelson and Anders Lee and Matt Barzal, Noah Dobson, they've been really good this year. That foursome's been really good. And Sorokin and Varlamov.
Speaking of it, Chris Smith said Brock Nelson is scoring goals when they count, not just empty netters.
But he's got a couple empty netters too.
He's got 2 empty net goals on the season, 17 games in.
Yeah. 2 of his what? How many he's got? 8? 9?
Maybe 9. Let me check here.
So a quarter of his goals are empty netters. Thanks for playing.
Okay, not to diminish what he's done. He's got 9 goals. I think 9 assists.
He's shooting the puck more. He's getting in, and he's not playing with it. He's getting passes from Barzal on the power. He's just shooting the puck. And you know what? He's got a good wrist shot. Shoot the puck. He should be doing that. He's not, I've said it for years. He's not a creator. I mean, you get a guy like, let's say you do get a Bo Horvat. He can play center. You could put Nelson on the wing with Barzal. That line would work.
You had mentioned he's shooting the puck a lot more. I'll tell you this, Grumpy. It's definitely true, but just take a guess as to how he's got 60 shots already this season, 17 games in. He is well above mark. He's well above mark as to what his highs were in the past, Grump.
Yeah, and if you think about it, his shooting percentage isn't what it was last year, okay? I think it's like at 15%, but last year he shot like just about 22, but he's shooting so many more shots now. So at 15%, shit, Brett Hull, I don't know what he was scoring, what percentage he was scoring, when he was scoring, 60, 70, 80 goals a year, 92 goals a year. But I know he had a whole lot of shots. That's for certain.
Right now, Brock Nelson, if he continued at this pace, a big if, he would register 290 shots this year.
It's a lot of shots.
That is 100 more shots than his previous career high total in a season if he stayed healthy over an 82-game year. The most he'd ever registered before in the past is 190 his second year in the NHL. That's shooter's first mentality would put him 100 shots above that mark. Nuts.
That's like over 3.5 a game. It's a lot of shots on goal. That's shots on goal, not just, I missed the net. That's shots on goal.
So his shooting percentage definitely down since last year, but here's the thing.
We knew that was
a lot more shots on target.
Yep.
So even if it goes down, he's still registering a lot more opportunities, a lot more shots.
His percentage would go down if you subtract those empty netters too, because those are like 2 for 2. So if we take those out of the mix, he's probably down to like 13% or 12%.
That's true, but I wanted to pull that up. I thought 200 on pace for 289 and change of shots, 289 and a half shots, just round up to 290 shots over an entire season. Nuts.
Probably not going to keep that pace up.
I would agree. He had like a few games where he's had like 9 or 10 shots in him. I don't think he'll have games like that going forward, but he's done a great job of putting pucks on net and generating chances. He's done a great job this year. I've always been a big Brock Nelson guy.
You have. And everyone knows I call him Croc, but I'll tell you what he's been able to do this year. He's been able to morph his game to what Lane Lambert wants to do, and he deserves credit for that.
Lane Lambert or Brock Nelson?
Brock Nelson.
Or both?
No, Brock Nelson. He was able to play, when he played all those years before Trotz, he was to me, he was a drifter.
Wildly inconsistent.
And a drifter. He, always scored goals, win 7-3, stuff like that. He put a couple in. But he embraced Barry Trotz's system, and maybe just part of the maturity process. He embraced the Barry Trotz system, and he became into a solid two-way center. Now he's got Lane Lambert. And he says, we want you to shoot the puck more, whatever. We need to put more pucks on net. And he's morphed his game into that now. And that's all for him. That's all Brock Nelson. It's not Lane Lambert. It's not who you're playing with. he's taking the bull by the horns and is like, I'm going to shoot the puck more, making concerted effort, and it's paying off for him. Good for him. And good for us.
Gungun says, which Freddie left a more of a lasting impression? Freddie Krueger or Freddie Mercury?
Krueger.
Really? More than Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, because musical tastes change. Where, it's mostly, okay, this is the music we listen to now. Anything in the past doesn't hardly even exist. Where movies are a little bit different. Everybody knows Nightmare on Elm Street.
Freddy Krueger is the guy with little stakes in his fingers, right?
Yeah. He was from Nightmare on Elm Street.
I've never seen that.
Ugh, Jesus. Again. Never seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. They only about 15 of them. Never seen one.
No, never one.
Okay. Watch the first one. Johnny Depp's in it. I think it was his first movie.
Really?
Yep.
Johnny Depp was in The Outsiders, wasn't he?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe he was in an uncredited role. But I think Nightmare on Elm Street was before that.
Oh, wow. Tommy B said the
Maybe
true test for the Islanders will come down when we hit the injuries. Exactly.
Yeah,
how many injuries will we have, if any?
All these other teams we play have had injuries, a lot of them.
Yep.
And when they eventually we're going to have an injury, but we've talked about this before, right? It's about maybe our physio staff is just so much better than anybody else's in the league. Maybe our guys know how to take care of themselves better, whatever it is. We've really not had, since Barry Trotz got here, we have not sustained a whole bunch of injuries.
We've been very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Yeah, onesies and twosies.
Yeah, absolutely. Max Power says, what's up, guys? What's up, Max? Hey, Frank, looks like your schedule is the same as mine. Never ending. Oh, man, I tell you. Matthew C. said, still have to take opportunities when we get the chance, since a lot of these teams last year had the chance and the opportunity on us.
Yep. It's right without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. So if we can get up early, I mean, here's the sad, unfortunate truth. If we're in a spot to where we win a whole bunch of these games early and we're in a playoff spot, and let's say we start to tail off even towards the deadline, freaking mark it down now. We will be trading away our first and probably our second round pick in this year's draft again. That is the worst case scenario. Actually, worst case scenario is we have a player who gets injured and we start losing games because we think it's that injured player, but in reality, it's because our schedule has gotten more it's tougher. We're playing tougher, talented teams, and we think that, it's because we lost this player here. It's because John Gabriel Pajot went without an injury. He's injured now, or Anthony Beauvillier is injured. We're going to have to find a way to replace him with a rental. We're going to have to give a first-round pick to replace left wing number 2 or center number 3. And then we go ahead and give up a whole bunch of draft capital to fill, an immediate sinking ship. That's worst case scenario. Hopefully it never gets to that.
I agree. I don't. That's nightmare stuff for me. Nightmare scenario is trading away more draft picks. Just look at Vancouver. Look at that. It just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. All those teams eventually, and Tampa Bay will find out soon enough.
But Tampa Bay won cups.
Yeah, and Chicago, same thing.
They won cups.
You're right. But here's the thing. They were that good that, that little piece put them over the hump or kept them there. That's not the case with our team. But what are those teams going to find out, or what have they found out? It's a long way down and a long way back up. Just cannot trade away draft picks. It's the lifeblood of the organization.
Gungun says, do you predict you'll both show emotion at the game on Saturday, or will you remain as cool as a hockey puck?
I know exactly how I'm going to react. TJ, I'll let you answer first.
I'm not an emotional guy, so I don't anticipate that I'm not a guy who yells at it. I'm not one of those type of guys when I watch a game. So, I assume more towards the cool as a cucumber or cool as a hockey puck.
The only time you'll see emotion where I get up and scream is if we score an overtime winner or like a goal in the last 5 seconds of the game. then I'll jump up and scream. Other than that, no. I'm usually talking to myself. If I'm there by myself, I'm like, God damn, you got to do this. You got to do that. Come on, make a play. Holmstrom, stop acting like a pussy. Stuff like that.
Wouldn't it be a great trip there to Dallas, Grumpy, if Simon Holmstrom scores a game winner, Grump, in overtime? Wouldn't that be something special? You could watch. And if Simon Holmstrom scores his first goal and he goes in, afterwards he goes ahead and wins a game puck and he throws it out there to a fan, Grumpy, and it's you who catches it, what would you do? Wouldn't you put a smile on your face?
I throw it back on the ice.
Oh, I know you're going to do something like that. D-Cut says the Rangers had 3 elite forwards. Besides Brock Nelson, we don't have any, as a D-Cut says. Oh, good gracious. Scott L said the penalty kill has not been as strong as it was their first 8 games. Well, we weren't going to kill it 95% all year.
We were perfect the first 8 games, weren't we? I mean,
something like that.
No,
or we gave
were
up
really, really good. But, it's going to balance out over the course. I mean, our power plays look good at times. I mean, it looks like our special teams are better than last year's so far. So, I mean, nothing to complain about it. We're going to give up goals. I know they were saying giving up a power play goal last 5 games. Well, that happens. I think our first however many games, we were like, no goals given up.
We have given up a lot of 5-on-3 power play goals. We are taking a lot of dumb penalties. We didn't necessarily do that under Trotz. We are taking way too many stupid and ill-advised penalties. May not cost us certain games here. Down the road, that definitely can. When you're playing against a more talented team and you give that team opportunities to win by putting yourself in the box, you can lose a game very easily, but via dumb decisions.
True. I mean, but a lot of the penalties we're taking are how many of those do we have where we're throwing the puck over the glass? Seems like we've had a lot of those this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are easily correctable.
Frank K said Penguins have a lot of issues. The Devils are really good. Absolutely.
True.
And Frank says Varlamov's been good too, grumpy old man. Absolutely.
I mentioned that.
Matthew S. said Washington is donezo. Do you think Washington's done?
I think by the time they get their guys back healthy, they'll be too far back to catch up. That's what I think.
And we talked about that on Sunday on that Washington podcast. I think
they might be one of the better teams playing their best hockey at the end of the season.
And
so
every year there's a team like that where it's like, wow, they got hot the last 25 games of the season. They went, 19, 5-1 or something like that. And they still just missed out.
And if they wind up making the playoffs, that could lead them to take a big run. I mean, we'll find out. I just think they've had a whole lot of injuries to really key members of the team, and it's tough to come back from.
Yep. John Smith said Pittsburgh has been shitting the bed too this year.
Yeah. Jari's looked terrible this year. He looks like playoff Jari.
That's a problem. I mean, like for Pittsburgh, how do you think that changes what they're looking to do? Let's say they're so far out of the playoff picture. What do you think they're looking to do around?
They never say we're going to be selling, that they're going to be throwing in the towel. Never. Not as long as Crosby and Malkin are there and Letang. They're not going to say, hey, let's sell everybody off. They're not going to do that.
Makes me wonder what they're looking to do. Yeah, because Tristan Jarry this year has a 3.55 goals against average.
And it's not because he's just looking bad. Like out of the net all the time. What's with these goalies don't they realize that the little red thing with the little net behind it, they have to stay in front of that to stop the pucks going in. They're like all over the place. 10 foot out of net. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, man. Brian P. said, I got warned for one of my Lou comments. Ooh, so I'll change it.
For my one Lou comment.
Oh. As dumb as the boxer rocks. Lou did nothing. No, oh, goodness. Results up to 35.5% on the face-off draws. Congrats. Ooh. I will say one thing. He does have to freaking learn how to take a face-off. At one point in time.
I could care less if he wins.
It's not end all be all, but dude, that is the older you get, that's just something you've got to become more skilled at in the dot. You have got to be able to win a face-off. It doesn't bother me a lot, but that's one of those things when you're starting to talk about how complete of a player you are, you got to win more than 30, every 1/3 of your face-offs.
I don't care. That means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. You can have some ham and egg or winger take face-offs if you have to. No problem there. Well, looks like TJ's taking another trip to the bathroom. What do you think of Salo's play this year? Well, he hasn't played a whole lot, so I'm not going to speak anything of it. I think Aho's play has been good, though, and I don't think we've missed a beat with Salo going down. Something else must have happened to make that an issue. D-Cut said, Lou is now 0-3 in KHL signings. His new Euro fixer sucks. Send Frank Kaplan to China and find us some untapped talent. Okay. You're going to have to do that on your own dime, Frank. Not a problem. And I don't know why he dips into the Russian market and comes up, snake eyes. Tommy Baffy says, why would anyone go to Philly? I agree. David P says, hey, Crumpy, go to Philly to Kensington, then grab a cheesesteak at Gino's, son. No, I'm not going to Philadelphia. Well, here's the thing. I don't live close enough anyway. Tommy Baffy says, grumpy old man, you don't want to see Bellows in Philly? I don't care about Bellows anymore. He's not a member of this team. Scott Levy, we're having a lot of comments about the cheesesteaks. The cheesesteaks. Matt S. says, we need to smack around Nashville. They have bitch slapped us around for a long time. They have. They've always seemed to have our number, but I think we're going to beat them. I just don't think they're good enough. I think we're going to beat them. At least I hope so. Tommy Baffy also echoes that sentiment. Joseph C. said the Buffalo Bills game might be canceled this Sunday. It will not be canceled. I know they prepare for snow, but they're talking like 6 feet. That game is not getting canceled. Frank from Empire State says, I heard that, Joe. Talk about the Islanders. Let's see. I'm going to just, some of the ones that are just everyone talking to one another, I'm going to do a blow by. Matt S. says, Bettman's an idiot. I think we can just echo that sentiment. Frank says, so when is the right time to start throwing it in the faces of TJ and the grumpy old man? How I guarantee the Islanders will be really good, and they laughed. Who's laughing now? We're 11-6, not even a quarter of the way through the season. So just slow your roll, Frank. Frank says,
I put you in the comments for 1 second, and here you are. We see
I'm half done. I'm half done with the comments.
We see how you flounder. You flounder like a fish out of water.
All right. I already told you that earlier, so you can't come up with anything real, so you just spit it back at me. Good job.
Holy shit. Can you enunciate and articulate?
Matt S. says, grumpy old man, have a TJ millennial moment. Couch shitter might be full. Okay.
Anyway, Grump, I wanted to bring something up about the Nashville comment you had mentioned, and I thought about this earlier, and I kind of wanted to ask you about it. Now, do you think Barry Trotz, with the way things ended for the Islanders, do you think he's pulling for the Islanders in that game, or do you think he's pulling for the Nashville Predators? Right? He used to be a head coach for the Nashville Predators a long time, longer than he was. Was that?
It's almost 10 years ago.
He could remember those times fondly. And do you think he feels spurned by the Islanders after he was fired? That's more the question.
He's still getting paid. I don't think he's complaining at all. I don't think he cares. He's looking for the next job. I don't think he even cares. If he's never able to get a job again, maybe he'd say, yeah, damn, Islanders fired me. I couldn't get a job again. He's still getting paid. He'll get a job next year. That's what'll happen.
Frank K wants to know, Grumpy old man, are you drinking your Ensure? Is that what you're drinking over there?
No.
Oh,
Good drink.
Mookie Betzer says Grumpy. Oh yeah, Bellows has done bumpkiss in Philly. You still think the Islanders didn't do him right? Didn't do right by him?
They never gave him a legitimate shot to make the team. They just didn't. A game here or there, 5-6 minutes a game. I'm sorry. I just wonder if they can do the same thing to Simon Holmstrom, or since he's a Lou Lamoriello draft pick, a legitimate Lou Lamoriello draft pick, or if he's going to get a whole lot of rope because of that. I don't know. We're going to find out. But, I mean, we've seen what they've done with Wahlstrom, cut his minutes down to the bone, did the same thing with Bellows. Let's see if they do it with Simon Holmstrom, or if they give him regular shift 14, 15 minutes a night, because he's certainly done nothing to deserve it.
You're doing that with him. Tony Cheese
says, if you have to say, wait, hold on before hitting a soundbite, you shouldn't use sound bites. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Tony. Tell him the truth.
Andrew L said it's not even confirmed yet. He's been called up. It's from our understanding, it's pretty much a done deal on that side. Maybe I did portray that as it was a done deal already, but it will be done tomorrow. Let me rephrase it there. I'm sorry. I got excited. Thinking about how infuriated Grumpy was going to be. But the speculation is heavily around Simon Holmstrom. Greg Prado says next Wednesday, Greg Prado is going to be back in black. Hit the sack. You're not going to sing the rest of the song, Grumpy?
No, I want to. Who sings that song?
AC/DC.
Okay. What's it called?
Back in Black.
Okay. I didn't know if you'd know that or not.
Are you? What the fuck are you doing today? Are you doing something?
I didn't know. I honestly
online thing going on. The
I was trying to see if somehow you would either mess up the band or the name of the song. That's 50-50, honestly.
God almighty. Wait, I tell you one thing. We're going to look like we got egg on our face, or at least I will, if Simon Holmstrom's not the guy who's called up. The heavy assumption is around Simon Holmstrom, but if it's somebody else, I'll look fucking dumb. Mookie Betzer says, my question is, if we're in second place in the Metro by the trade deadline, do you go all in for Vladimir Tarasenko?
No. It depends on what you have to give up. He's on he's 31 years old. He's on the last year of a $7 million contract. $7 million, right? 7.1, 7.2 million.
Sure.
I'm not giving up high end. I mean, here's a third rounder. Okay. I'll give up a third round for him. Not trading a first or a second, though. Not happening.
Okay. Vladimir Tarasenko's going to get more than a third round pick.
Well, then let somebody else make that trade. If you're in
Vladimir
second,
Tarasenko's more valuable than a third round pick.
Well, I don't care. He's 31 and he makes seven.
He's a rental. He's a rental.
So, like I said, I'm not giving up high-end draft picks. How long have I been on the show with you? What do I always say? I'm not giving up high-end draft picks. I just don't believe in that.
In this scenario, we're second in the Metro.
Then we don't need them. Then we don't need them. Then we don't need them.
Okay, so we're second in the Metro. We don't need to make any adjustments at the deadline. We're good enough to win the cup.
You're absolutely in playoff position where if your goaltending is good enough, if your team is that good where you're second in the Metro, you got a shot, right? You got a shot then. When was the last time we were second in the Metro?
First year under Trotz.
How'd that turn out? We won a playoff series. We swept one, and then we got swept out.
By those dreaded Carolina Hurricanes, Grump.
As long as we don't have to play them in the playoffs, or New Jersey, or Tampa, or Florida, or Toronto, or Boston, we're in good shape.
Chris said, when did he get called up? I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. It's from what I see, it's a done deal, or it's heavily speculate. There's a lot of speculation that he's the guy, and I falsely I portrayed it as it was a done deal, but in reality,
one of your little buddies, Tommy Baffy, said he's getting called up tomorrow.
No, okay, cool. Phil's Facts hit me up with it, and so did a whole bunch of other people. I was like, oh, great, he's going to be called up. He's getting called up. I guess
you just blame everybody else if it doesn't happen.
I'm not going to blame everybody else. I'm the one who said it. So, I'm the one who said it.
You say you were just passing on information.
No.
Blue check mark.
I'm responsible for what I say. Nick C. Grumpy.
To be fair, I'd rather see Holmstrom up and sit on the bench or play for 8 minutes than one of our young top prospects up losing valuable playing time.
So we'd rather see him up there playing 8 minutes a night than seeing one of our valuable prospects only get 8 minutes a night. He doesn't think much of Holmstrom, so he'd rather Holmstrom be the guy who's sitting up pretty much on the bench.
Okay.
Tony Cheese said Bailey, Holmstrom, and Barzal. Fucking perfect.
My God.
Imagine how few shots would be taken in that line.
Barzal probably want to kill himself. Hey, you can take your money back. I'm leaving.
Oh, my God. Want you to decide, said Shishnikov was completely invisible in all fairness. In fairness to him, though, he only played 3 games.
And he played on the fourth line, limited minutes. I mean, how do you expect somebody to show something? It's the same thing with Bellows, right? Played 1 game, 6 minutes or 5 minutes. Oh, he didn't show us what we needed. Well, he was only out there for 5 minutes. Stop.
Scott L said, Grump is going to get a Holmstrom jersey because Bailey looks to be on his way out.
I've always said he's the Bailey's replacement. Didn't I say right from day one, he's Bailey 2.0?
Tony Shee said regarding the line of Barzal, Holmstrom, and Josh Bailey, he said, it's the road to the cup as per Tony Jizz.
Oh, my gosh.
That's right. You called him Tony Jizz, Grumpy.
I never called him Tony.
Yes,
Jizz.
you did. You mispronounced his name. You said Tony Jizz.
Okay, maybe I did.
Mookie Betts, Grumpy.
It's amazing how a coaching change can be so critical in hockey. Look at the Bruins, look at the Islanders. It's amazing. I mean, he probably would have said amazing. Talking about the Mets, Buck Showalter won National League Coach of the Year, and Terry Francona won American League Coach of the Year, Manager of the Year.
Why don't we talk a little bit about the teams that have new head coaches and how they're doing? The Stars have a new head coach. They're playing well. A lot of these teams that had changed up their head coach in the offseason are seeing immediate jump and bounce this year.
They always get that bounce. The team I'm most impressed with is Boston, to be honest with you. I mean, they look dead and buried, and I think Cassidy's a really good coach, but maybe just that changing up in the room. And I didn't think much of Montgomery, to be honest with you, but he's been like he has the magical elixir up there in Boston. They've been great.
So this is just to show you some notable teams that have new head coaches. The Boston Bruins, right? They're 14-2. You look at the Vegas Golden Knights, they're 13-3 with a new head coach. New York Islanders, 11-6 with a new head coach. The Winnipeg Jets, 9-4-1 with a new head coach, first in their division. And the Dallas Stars, I think they're now first after that recent win. But the Dallas Stars, 9-5-1 in their division.
I'll be interested to see what happens when we play those teams. I mean, they're coming up. Those teams are starting to come up on our schedule soon. So that'll be a good barometer to how good the team is.
Absolutely, it will, Grumpy. Gungun says, predict it. Who will have to spill their urine the most at the game Saturday night?
You got to be kidding, right? TJ, by the time he gets down to his seat, I'll be back. I got to go to the bathroom. And then as soon as he gets back, I'll hold on. I got to go back to the bathroom. I bet you he doesn't see 10 minutes of the actual game unless he's watching the TVs in the bathrooms.
Tony B says TJ and the Grumpy Man should do a rockin' New Year's Eve podcast. No doubt they would be on at midnight anyway. Bring in 2023 with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That would be the rockin' New Year. You could be Grumpy. You could be Dick. What the hell is his name?
Dick Clark.
You could be Dick Clark, Grumpy.
He's freaking dead.
That's how you've been playing this podcast today. Like you've been dead.
You've been like Dick Clark too after the stroke.
Oh, that's you, Grumpy. That's you, but I appreciate it. John Smith said the Islanders taking ridiculously stupid penalties. It needs to stop first. Absolutely. And the refs having have been less than stellar to us this year too.
I disagree with that. I think we've gotten a lot of calls this year. Like I said, you really don't hear me complain too much about the referees. As long as they're consistent, it doesn't bother me. We've gotten away with quite a few penalties this year that should have been penalties, and we've gotten some ticky-tack ones go our way. So, and on all those challenges, I tell you what, we've gotten some breaks on those too. I don't think we've lost a challenge. And there was some like, okay, that was definitely a goal. Like, nope, no goal.
For the rocking New Year's Eve, I think you're right too. I agree with you on that one. I think all the penalties and stuff evens out long term. For Matthew S said, for TJ and Grumpy's rocking New Year's Eve, it would be a party on the couch with drinks and millennial outbursts.
There you go.
There it is. Frank says, TJ, it's impossible for you to remember. We're also got Isaiah George in the trade for Romanov. Well, we acquired a 4th round pick. George is already one of our best defenseman prospects. He hasn't had a great start to the year in the OHL. He's one of those guys who's like 4 years away at best. I'm not saying I don't think he can't be successful. It's just I'm not saying he's just like a throw-in piece. That's kind of what my opinion is on a Crump.
I think he's going to turn out to be good.
6 games. 6 games played, as you know, and he remember that he's not in the draft class year. 6 games played for the London Knights, 1 point.
Okay, it's too early to make a judgment on him. It's just too early.
I could tell you a guy who is a year after his draft class year with 1.6 games as a defenseman. He's not going to ever be a guy who's putting up points really in the NHL as a defenseman. Not going to be the case.
Okay. I just think it's way too early. 6 games into his age 19 season, and you're just writing him off already. I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying he's not going to be a guy who puts up points. Maybe he's going to be a defenseman steady Eddie. That's it.
We'll find out. Like I said,
Maybe he's going to be a guy. Maybe he's going to be a superstar for the Worcester Railers.
You're 6 games in. You're 6 games in. 6.
I'm aware.
You can count that on 2 hands.
I'm aware, Grumpy. Mookie Betzer says here, does Romanov remind you of Islanders legend Darius Kasparaitis?
No. Kasparaitis knew how to play positional hockey.
D-Cut says, your boy, Sleepy Phil's Fax has been destroying Dobson, TJ. I assume the reason he's got to probably try to destroy him is to push his narrative. When Phil's Fax comes on the show.
He wants to keep the contract down. He's in cahoots with the Islander organization trying to keep the contract down because TJ has actually portrayed him as a $10 million a year player. They said, hey, Phil, we're going to feed you some stats to just spit out on command. So this way we keep that number down to combat TJ's $10 million a year salary thing.
When he's on the show, he knows he has got to try to gather every piece of evidence that he can to try to devalue the man, the myth, legend, the future $10 million man, Noah Dobson. So what he's trying to do is he's going to go on a freaking rampage. He's going to go on a war path against Noah Dobson every single game. Noah Dobson could tie up his skate wrong. He's going to say that's why he's not worth $10 million a year. Because Phil's Fax knows he's going to have to come ready and armed to the freaking teeth to go ahead and talk about Noah Dobson not being a $10 million man.
Let me tell you something. Phil and TJ are a lot alike where they'll look for some freaking obscure fact that has no bearing on anything and use it for all their arguments are usually built on sand. So a little wave comes and just knocks it over. But that's what Phil does. The same thing TJ does. Some little obscure fact, and they're going to build their whole thing off of that. No, sorry, it doesn't work. Tom
B says the next hit Pavilier throws will be his first.
Yeah, he's been pretty invisible too.
CJ says here, what's up, TJ and the grumpy old man? What's up, Red Lupin Rangers? Red Lupin Ranger Grump.
Red Lupin Power Ranger, yeah.
Steve Burns says, yeah, Kasparaitis was not a defensively sound defenseman.
See, but he was better than Romanov. It seems like Romanov's never in position to make a play, never.
CJ says, why can't we just trade for Timo Meier? And why would we do a potential Holmstrom call-up?
We don't have enough to get Timo Meier. You can't give up draft pick. Just can't do it.
Look at this. D-Cut has the solution as to why Dobson is better defensively than Romanov. And, I'll let you discern, Grump. He says Dobson was taught by Barry Trotz. That's why he's better positionally, Grump.
Okay. Anything that pushes the Dobson is better positionally, I'm going to grab that. That's cool.
CJ says Bodie Wild is being screwed out of years.
Just let him go. He's never going to make your team. Again, he was too busy speaking truth to power, and they said, screw you. We're going to ruin your career. And that's all they're doing. This has Hosang written all over it. We're going to hold on to you until you're totally out of options. Then we'll let you go and no one will watch anymore.
His team, they own his contract, right? The Islanders do, but he's loaned out to another affiliate. He's playing for the Atlanta Gladiators.
Cut him loose. Cut him loose. Cut him loose. Why? He's never going to play for this team. Never. If a guy's never going to play for you, why do you keep him? Makes no sense. Why do you keep him in the organization? Let him go.
The Atlanta Gladiators, I'm trying to see who they're aligned with.
It's probably an ECHL team, no?
They are an ECHL team. I'm just trying to see who they're aligned with, what NHL team they're aligned with here. Somebody might know off the top of their head. They just pretty much look like the Thrashers uniform. They took the exact Thrashers logo. It's funny how that is. Anyway, you continue there with the comments, Grumpy, as I'm pulling it up there.
Tommy Buffy says Romanov has held his own, but we do need to give him at least half a season to learn a new system. He's never in position. I mean, it seems like he's never near the net. I don't know. He's noticeable for the fact that he's not anywhere to be seen. That's what I'm saying.
By the way, the Atlanta Gladiators are linked with the Arizona Coyotes.
There you go. Let him go there. They'll give him a shot. Just say, yeah, here you go.
Matthew S. says, I heard TJ's going to show Grumpy how to square dance down in D-Town.
Is that true?
No. JK said, guys, I went to UBS Arena this past weekend, and let me tell you, it was like an amusement park for Islander fans. I mean that in a good way. From the shuttles, from the parking lots, the audio visuals at the arena, the Islanders lab. There are so many things to process from a sensory standpoint.
You know why teams do that usually?
To distract you from the show on the ice.
Thank you very much.
I figured he was going to say some shit like that, but that's good to hear, Jake. It
is good to hear.
We have not been to UBS Arena. One day we'll make it up there.
Yep.
TJ is going to millennial fixate on Romanov. Oh, goodness gracious. Because of sick. Yeah, because Lou is sick. Yeah. Gungun says, which sport is a true game of inches? Baseball, football, hockey, or chess?
I would say chess because it's played on the smallest surface and every move is magnified by the inches. So an inch is like a yard in football or 2 yards. Where baseball, I'd say probably the one that's least a game of inches is going to be football. You know, those guys who spot the ball, they're freaking wrong all the time.
I agree with that.
All the time. Like half a yard, whatever. You know, it's like, oh, they missed it by an inch. Yeah, well, if you hadn't screwed them out of a yard earlier in the drive or 2 downs ago, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Steve, well, I guess
the answer is chess.
I was going to pick, I guess I'll pick football. Let's game inches. Steve Burns said, Anders, Ham, and Egger Lee, 8 goals, 8 assists in 17 games.
How many empty netters does he have? I know he's got at least one.
He leads the team in empty net goals. Now I have no idea how many empty.
I know he's got an empty netter. You know, if Matt Barzell popped in a couple empty netters, maybe people would be so mean to him. But I bet they'd say, "Well, he's got only empty netters." Can't have it both ways because if he scored empty netters, well, that's not going to happen because he's never out there in that situation. It's just there for someone to pad Lee and Nelson's stats by putting them out there at the end.
You know, because of the criticism Matt Barzal takes, people would be, let's say he's got 0 5-on-5 goals, 0 power play goals, but he's got 3 empty net goals and 18 assists in 17 games. He's over a point a game just with assists. People would still be shitting on him, talking about how he's overrated, how he didn't deserve that contract. Well, all 3 of his goals are empty netters. But if you bring up Brock Nelson and Anders Lee empty net goals and empty net goals by other players, well, you're getting caught in the weeds. You don't need to be looking at that. Funny how it works. That's Mario right. Grumpy.
Dobson was the best defenseman available in his draft year. I 100% agree. He dropped because he didn't play in the World Juniors in Denmark because his team was on a deep playoff run in the queue. If he learned anything, it would have been that defensemen do not play offense. Yeah, I loved him. I thought that he was great. And, I think that was one of the first shows we ever did.
We had just started our podcast that year. I think like midway through that year. And so like that draft class year, I remember we went to one of the Islanders meetups in Charlotte. You and I did. That's where we met Mikey Ryan. That's where we met.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll do one more shameless plug. They've got that in Philly on November 29th for those in the area. Make sure to check that out. John Smith says, if that's true, then Lou has really lost it. Why not even see what he wanted? Good question.
I think, talking about the Gaudreau situation.
Yeah, good question. Tommy B said, I did not boo Johnny Gaudreau. Maybe you mentioned that I did not boo Johnny Gaudreau. Why would anybody boo him? That's stupid. He didn't play for us like that guy in Toronto. Oh man, signed for Toronto per se. Yeah, you didn't pull John Tavares. I understand the booze for John Tavares.
I
He did
don't.
not.
I don't. He was an unrestricted free agent. It was a mismanagement by the front office. If you gave this kid an ultimatum and say, here's the contract in the season before that, going into his walk year, this is the contract we're offering you. And if he said, no, I don't want to do it, then move him at the deadline. I don't care if he said, I want to stay, this or that, I'm still going to sign. No, you move him and get a king's ransom, and you start revamping your team. That's what they should have done. That was a Garth Snow failure all the way.
Mario says NHL pundits kiss Lou's ass.
Without a doubt.
They absolutely do. Steve Burns says, did the Islanders ever acknowledge that they were in talks with Gaudreau? The Islanders never acknowledge anything. And neither does Lou Lamoriello. That son of a bitch will never acknowledge. He could have the worst. He could legitimately go after players or not go after and say, oh, we did everything we could. Or if he was going after players and wanted serious players, he would be like, oh, no, nobody fit our criteria this offseason. He's never going to let you know what actually happened. He conceals all that shit. CJ says, fire Lou, just a piece of shit. Who's the best NHL general manager days? His days of being an NHL best general manager.
NHL GM days are behind him. True.
Yes, if I could read. Isles 91 Grump.
Who cares? Glad we booed him. Let's boo every opposing player on every team. I see that I'm cool with. I'm absolutely cool with that.
Oh, man.
You'd be exhausted by the end of the game, though.
You'd be exhausted at the end of the year if you're a season ticket holder.
Mario says, did you see the Canadians' alternate jersey, powder blue in honor of the Expos? Yeah, I think it looks sharp.
Frank said, too many years and money. I wanted Johnny Gaudreau, but who knows? And
7 years, $9 million a year for a guy who's a 100-point-a-year player. Well, I don't know. I think that's a pretty good deal.
IB said, agents reach out to teams, find out best interest, contract possibilities, not the players. Players start talking with teams when serious interest was established. So, here's the thing. If you have any interest at all, you're probably going to put the player in touch with them if there's a legitimate offer on the table or could be a legitimate offer. It means that we would never have a legitimate offer for him and we weren't interested.
It means Lamoriello is full of shit.
Yep, that's what it means to me. Gungun says, so Lou Lamoriello
collects a paycheck by merely sitting on his tuchus, eating Cheetos, and doing diddly. Where can I sign up for such a cushy job? I think you already have one of those, Gungun.
Sitting on that throne, the porcelain throne right there, that toilet. Shit. I don't think he's eating Cheetos. Lou Lamoriello doesn't have a body built on Cheetos. He's got a body built like a freaking tortoise. Matthew S.
Are you trying to say he eats lettuce?
I think he eats some lettuce. He probably eats salads. He just is slow moving and very lugubrious.
Okay. Badass says booing Gaudreau is just dumb. It's not like he ever played here. Calgary should be giving him the PJ boy treatment. He will get booed when he goes there. I guarantee it.
CJ, big on Timo Meier says, imagine the top line of Wahlstrom, Barzal, and Timo Meier.
Not happening. Who would win a playoff series if it's us and the Devils and us and the Rangers? Too early to tell. Too early to tell.
For all we know, the Devils may be way overperforming, punching way above the belt. It may be
way above their weight, not above the belt. It's above their weight. It's a weight class thing. It's where you have fighters in lower weight classes fighting against bigger, heavier players. It's called fighting above your weight. It means that you are competing against a bigger opponent, like no one would expect because you're small. It's called punching above your weight, not punching above your belt. You keep saying that, and you're wrong every time.
Yeah, Grumpy. You're
batting 1,000. You're wrong every time.
He's punching above his belt, Grump. That's all that's happening. Frank says Lou moves with Bellows. Lou moves Bellows, a young potential player, basically for nothing. Now Shushnikov to potentially bring up Simon Holmstrom and to try to prove it's a good draft pick, a good draft choice to appease his ego. I hate Lou.
The only thing I find difficult with that is he gave up Bellows for nothing, not basically nothing, for nothing, and the same thing with Shushnikov.
But Shostakhov's still in our system.
Oh, who cares? You think he's getting a shot back? No, that's not happening. He got demoted for Casper Holmstrom. Forget it.
Good gracious. Oh man. I tell you. Time B says here the agent speaking with the Islanders is totally different than Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, it is. But so what that means is the agent within like
went
a
nowhere.
15-minute conversation said,
Yeah.
this is not
He was
gonna
kicking
work.
the tires with every team in the league. That's his job as an agent.
Yep, literally every single team. And we were so inconsequential in that equation that he didn't even think it was worth his client's time to have a 5-minute long conversation with Lou Lamoriello.
Yes.
Frank Hayes says we went to Vincent's together with Lou and Andrew Gross.
Oh, that was
Ooh.
fun.
And the Islanders 91, Grumpy's got a comment for you.
Lou's about results, not your armchair hindsight BS. What result are you firing Lou for? He signed Barzal. Whoop-de-frickin' do. Any GM can sign a player back. He would have traded Tavares. Really? He didn't. Your boy Garth didn't. Nobody said Garth was our boy. Who do you want to replace Lou? Names? That's something we did in the offseason. We talked about any numerous number of candidates.
Tough to hire a new general manager mid-season when everybody who's pretty much worth or of substance is employed.
That's an off-season move.
Yep.
It's not an in-season move.
If you fire him, you promote Johnny from within. We talked about general managers from XYZ teams and even their assistant general managers who have built up some time there as a possible candidate. So we've gone over that Islanders 91. CJ says we are getting lucky and everything, but we do need to get a top line goal scoring player. Timo Meier, please.
Okay, listen to me. If we get Timo Meier, CJ gets like Fan of the Week award for certain.
He gets listener of the month. Grumpy.
He's driving that train, filling up with gas, keeping the tires, he's getting everything. Everything he's on the Timo Meier train. Period.
He needs to contact Phil's Facts and get in touch with whoever from the Islanders organization is contracting him to try to make Noah Dobson's contract less by dragging him through the mud. They just need to start leading a campaign to bring Timo Meier here. Brian J. Grumpy.
Boys, still early. Let's be realistic. There's a lot of hockey left. True.
Yep.
That's why I think these next 8 games are really, really big for us. We have to win at least 6. There's no way against this level of competition, and I gave us every single win except for the 2 teams that I just think Dallas is better than us right now, and Toronto. But I gave us wins over Edmonton and all the other, Columbus, the Flyers twice, Nashville twice, St. Louis. I mean, I think they're 1-13, 3-13 between them. I mean, they're terrible.
Matthew S. said, I'm done with Beauvillier.
It might be time to move on from him.
D-Cut said, anybody who reported that Gaudreau was eating lunch with Hideki, Lou, and Lee should be banished from social media. I don't even know who said that, but
he said that.
No, he didn't say that. Stop. You don't even know. You know who I heard said it, Grumpy?
No, who?
I don't know. I was gonna try to say something funny, but I just wasn't quick-witted enough. Goodness gracious, says goodness gracious.
Another surprise from TJ. Not quick-witted enough to come up with something.
I tried. I was trying to buy a second or two to think of something I didn't. Goodness gracious, I tell you, says Horvat is a center. Wouldn't a wing be more of a fit?
You can
always bump
turn Nelson into a wing. Turn Nelson into a wing. He's not a center. He's not a center. It's a wing.
James F. said, do you guys believe in the Devils? Right now I am.
Real close, yeah. Real close.
I was about to say, where we put the Islanders, right? 8 more games until I'm a believer. More in the team's, ability for the Islanders. See what they do over the next 8. The Devils are right around the same amount. I want to see if they can continue to sustain it. Gungun says Bailey was a healthy scratch the other night, and Ross Johnson played like his hiney was on fire. I bet Bailey comes back next game. Ross gets sent again to Siberia. Makes no sense.
True. But what does it tell you? I didn't even notice that Josh Bailey wasn't playing. I'm like, oh, Ross Johnston's in there. I didn't hear Bailey's name mentioned, but you know what? A lot of games I don't hear Bailey's name mentioned, even when he's playing. He's finished. That's why TJ mentioned the Horvat for Bailey thing. I'm like, holy shit, where do I sign?
Horvat for Bailey plus is what it was, but they liked what they saw in Bailey. The Vancouver Canucks need they need like a different composition because they've got talent on that team. They do when you look at the players on paper, but they need a different mentality. That's a guy who they need a lot of people in the room or need somebody who could show you how to get out of the dwelling space or the depth where they currently are in the NHL.
Okay.
Am I keeping you up, Grumpy?
No.
Is you rubbing your little eyes?
No. You ever get like when your eye flutters? I got one of those.
You look like a little teddy bear.
I like an eyelid spasm. Thanks.
Bed and Blanket says that the Islanders
playoff contenders, absolutely.
I think playoff contenders, absolutely.
Yep.
Stanley Cup contenders, far from it.
No.
At least the way the team currently is.
If they're going to be Stanley Cup contenders, Sorokin has to be like Shesterkin was last year. And then the Rangers weren't contenders either.
Matthew S. said, I heard D-Cut was spending the weekend at Phil's Fax Place playing chess.
I bet that. Unbuttoning shirts.
Good gracious. Sal P. Grump, we'll just do it quick. He's got a great shirt.
Fellas? Hovat would be great. He's got 14 goals already this season, but I know he has said some things about the Canucks in the offseason. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm. CJ says Timo Meyer, Tarasenko seconds. Okay. Oh, man. CJ, I hope for your sake it just happens just to have that come to fruition.
I mean, he's so invested in the Timo Meyer thing. I just don't think it's going to happen.
John M. What's up, John? How are you? And we got here. But you are tired. You're freaking yawning, rubbing your eyes and yawning. That's what it is. You're just a little tired.
It must be the conversation I'm having with you.
Oh, fuck. I should have used that when you asked me if I'm tired in the future. Mario Grumpy's got a question for you.
Hold on a second. I was looking to see Timo Meyer, $6 million a year. It's final year of his deal. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe as per CBA, a team can't trade a UFA on the first year of a new contract, so the Canucks can't trade Miller. Well, they're not trading because you don't sign a guy to an 8-year contract extension and then look to trade him.
No. Ship old Simon Holmstrom to Vancouver, says John Smith.
Why not? How about Bailey and Holmstrom for Horvat? Woohoo! Oh, my God.
Because says F and TJ off, Grumpy. Maybe even said TV off. F and TV off, Grump. Oh, good gracious. Teams are going to want our high draft pick players, not Bailey. Yes, they're going to want that. But I just thought it was funny that a freaking Vancouver podcast was like, maybe a guy like Josh Bailey would be an interesting prospect for us. I guess he was with the team that was a perennial loser, and now he's seen what it takes to turn into a winner. So maybe he can help the room out. But that you don't give up a guy of his quality for somebody that helps the room. Yeah, Looney Speed praying Holmstrom heats up to trade him, but he's not a good general manager anymore. He's not going to do it. The Islanders 91 says Grumpy. I'll let you read that.
Yeah, I don't think we have to have what it takes to offer to be able to acquire Timo or Tarasenko without it being too much from our side. It's always too much from our side.
Yeah, I just looking at what we've given up for guys who are bottom 6 skaters in the NHL. We've given up first and a second for guys at the bottom 6. To bring in a guy who's a top 6 player, we're probably giving up 2 first-round picks.
You just traded a first-round pick for a defenseman who doesn't know where the net is in the defensive zone.
The 13th overall pick. So not just a first-rounder. The 13th overall pick, a lottery pick.
Sal said, Horvat said some things about the organization and the direction of the team that pissed off a lot of people in Vancouver. Some people said it looked very bad that their captain was talking so negatively about the team. Well, was he wrong, though? See, that's the most important thing. Was he wrong? Because if he was wrong, okay. But if he's right, then it sounds like he wants to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Alice 91 said, the Islanders can win a cup, and somebody is going to complain that Lou did it with the wrong guys, paid too much, or just got lucky.
If we win a Stanley Cup, it's going to be because of our goaltending. Sorokin's going to have to stand on his head.
If we won a Stanley Cup, I'd say we finally did it. We won the 5th cup. We did it in Grumpy's lifetime before he passes, which is good. And then you know what I'll say? I would be a guy where it'd say our fantastic goaltending did that. Do I think it's sustainable next year? That would be the conversation. But we would be happy. We would be in jubilation if the Islanders won a cup.
I just don't think we're talented enough.
It would all right now. The way for a cup for us to win a cup is Sorokin plays with a 9.5 save percentage all year long, and he does a great job in the postseason. And he's given up a goals against average of like 1.5 goals a game, and our team is able to compete with fantastic goaltending. That's the only way I see us winning a cup.
Yeah, I just don't think we're talented enough. I mean, here's the thing. It's a grind, right? You're going to get injuries in the playoffs. I mean, the teams that are the healthiest are the ones that win at the end, usually.
Grump Goon's got a comment.
What could the Islanders have done differently in the mid-90s to avoid the stinky stench, have better ownership?
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's the truth.
Time B says Horvat, Tarasenko, and Patrick Kane could all be dealt at the deadline.
None of them are coming here.
Yeah, probably not. No. We're going to be dreaming of scenarios around that time period of how they can, and we're going to end up short and empty-handed as always. John M says Lou always gets taken in a trade. Somehow, always overpays.
Yeah. Snow didn't, I mean, particularly late. I mean, he lost the Ryan Smith trade. But other than that, I can't even remember a trade that he lost. I don't want to even say the Vanek trade because, I mean, Molson was just a creation of Tavares. And Vanek was good when he was here. The whole thing is he couldn't move him. There was no way to move him, so he took the best he could, which was Sebastian Coe, yuck, and a second rounder.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm going to make a first rounder disappear.
The original trade to get Vanek was a win. And every other trade he's ever made have been wins. That's why he didn't make a whole lot of trades, because he had to kill in every trade. He's like a fantasy general manager, you know? I'll give you, this, that, and this for your best player. I'll give you the trash for your best player. Sometimes guys say yes.
We gave up for Thomas Vanek a first-round pick and a second-round pick in Matt Molson.
People forget how good Thomas Vanek was, though.
And he was really good. He was. I agree. He was very, very talented for us. Al's91 said, just let Milbury draft. No trades.
Okay, was Milbury really a great drafter, or was it the fact that because you're picking in the top 5 every year? I'll never forget the day that he traded Luongo and Jokinen and drafted freaking Rick DiPietro. Luongo makes the Hall of Fame, by the way. Made the Hall of Fame just the other day with the Sedin sisters.
Heck yeah.
A Vancouver Hall of Fame. I guess they want to send them all at the same time. Olli Jokinen was a really, really good player for 16, 17 years. We got Mark Parrish and Oleg Kavasha. Ugh. Then we draft Rick DiPietro, and at number 5, Rafi Torres. Yuck.
Really quickly, I do want to touch on that. Roberto Luongo, first ballot Hall of Famer. We gave away a first ballot Hall of Famer. Think about that.
This is the guy. This is the guy because we were so cheap back then that if he had played 25 games, he would have got, I think, a $900,000 bonus. I'm not sure the dollar amount. I want to say 900,000. So they said, screw it. He's going to play 24 games and they're going to send him back down. And they had Kevin Weeks play. That's how cheap the organization was. And you traded him. You set your team. I said at the time, you set your team back 10 years. And they did. I mean, that draft was so Rick DiPietro shouldn't even have been an option at number 1. That was Marian Gaborik and Danny Heatley. Those were the consensus 1 and 2 guys. Can you imagine how much Gaborik would have done to this team? A legitimate speedster who could score. Instead, you say, okay, we're going to restart the goaltending position. We're going to get rid of a future first ballot Hall of Famer for Rick DiPietro. Ugh, yuck. Yuck.
Think about that. Mike
off with my head. Mad Mike. If this trade doesn't work out, it's off with my head. And he stayed there for how many more years? Ugh.
he traded away at least 2 first ballot Hall of Famers in his career for freaking pennies.
Pennies on the dollar. Dumb. Scary.
Shit drives me nuts.
Scary.
Yeah, it is. Tommy B says
I think it could have been worse. If it was Lamarillo, we would have waited till Luongo was 27 years old before he'd be brought up, and then he never would have made the Hall of Fame.
Got a comment here. Tommy B said Lou's clock is ticking on his contract and life.
Ooh,
true.
That's strong.
Gungun says here Milbury and Spano almost equaled the death of the Islanders, or merely a colorful chapter in the franchise's history.
Spano, yeah, here's the thing. Milbury, he had nothing to work with. He had no money. Shoestring budget. Spano, that was like a blip to me. No big deal. I don't think it was anything close to the death of the Islanders, either one.
And oh shit, did you guys switch sides? Grumpy did. He did switch sides. John M said, have you guys ever tried to get former guest on his podcast? If Milbury was a guest here, would be 2 weeks worth of content. However, he would never come on, I bet.
When you have a podcast that is mostly realistic with a slant towards negative side, no player wants to come on the show.
Correct.
They just don't want to.
We've had
unless they don't know us or what we do.
We've had a few players. We had Rob Shrimp on, but he's living in Europe, so
he's out of country. So
he's out of country. So it was like we did a podcast like at 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that our time. We've had Richie Pilon on. We've had a few ex-NHLers. We haven't done as much or I have not done any outreach really to ex-NHLers as of recent.
I'd love to get Milbury on the show.
If somebody has a way to contact that guy, I'd send him an email every day. Hey man, we need to have you on the show. Hey.
Yeah. Because honestly, I find him. I like Mike Milbury. I do. I find him very entertaining. I think he was railroaded out of a job with NBC Sports
as an announcer.
And I would love to get his take on certain things, and absolutely the Luongo trade. I'd ask him about some of his quotes and say, should they have gotten rid of you? Just stuff like that, but we talk to him ahead of time. Anytime we have a guest on, we usually talk to him ahead of time. We don't want to make.
Is there anything you don't want us to talk? Well, here's the thing. There's going to be certain things, even if he's like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, I'm going to have to ask you if he seems like a guy who would be open to talk about anything though.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a guy with thin skin.
He seems like a straight shooter. He does.
Yep. And that's what we like as people. Yep. So Gungun says, is Son X an Islander fan also, or he couldn't give two farts? He's an Islander fan.
He's an Islander fan, but not like TJ and I.
Correct. Frank says, TJ, get your prostate checked. Oh, man. Tommy B said, grumpy old man doing a show from his hot tub next Wednesday.
Yeah, probably.
Frank K said, TJ likes Rock and Roll Night by AC/DC. Oh, God. And Point of Curtis says, Greg Prado is bar none the coolest guest you guys have ever had on the show, along with Stefan Rosner. Nicole Sherman is also good. Phil's facts. I'll go. Oh, stop. No. Nobody is bad. We don't bring on bad guests. Every guest is fantastic. Tony Bird Curtis. That's it. You're not going to catch us talking.
Actually, we like all those people, by the way.
We do. We like, I don't think there's ever
I
been
don't think we've ever had a guest except for Tommy Baffy. I only said that because I know he's listening today. But no, seriously, I don't think we've ever had a guest that we haven't liked.
We like every single guest we've ever had an interaction with. And like, there's not been a single guest where I'm like, I would never want that person on the show.
This might be hard for people to believe, but we're both very friendly people. We talk shit about the Islanders when things aren't going well, but we're very, very friendly. So
yeah. Boys, where are you staying on the trip? Tell us about your plan. Well, we don't even have any place booked yet. So we've got to, after the show, Grumpy and I have to get things coordinated regarding our trip to Dallas. All I know is we're traveling. We're leaving out Friday evening to go down there. So we can be
Friday. There. So you were leaving Friday evening?
Correct.
I'm not even getting into town until Friday.
That's fine. We're leaving Friday evening. Take your ass a nap. We're leaving Friday evening. That's how that works. Making sure we'll get there, and because I got to talk to you after the show. Tybee says Thanksgiving Eve, TJ and Grumpy Old Man live from the hot tub with some bubbly. The boys are doing way better than like 95% of people, yourself included, thought they'd be doing by this time period, says Pony Curtis. Yes, absolutely they are. They are outperforming my expectations currently. Absolutely they are.
I didn't think we'd lose to Detroit and
be shut out by Detroit and Arizona.
But I didn't think we'd beat Carolina or Colorado. Yep. And I thought we always play the Rangers stuff. I thought maybe a split. So I was probably thinking instead of 11-6, I thought it'd be 9-8 at this point.
Pony McCurtis says we're almost a quarter way through the season, which is a good enough sample size to show us the ability to win. I don't know about that. To win points isn't a fluke. I'm not sure about that.
I think we have to wait. They say a good barometer is by Thanksgiving. If you're in the playoff hunt, if you're out, you're not going to make it. But if you're in a playoff hunt, you're probably going to have a good shot of making it.
We should be top 3 in this division. I'd argue top 2 in this division by Thanksgiving. Our schedule is Charmin soft right now. When you're playing the Nashville Predators twice, you're playing the miserable St. Louis Blues so far this season again. You're playing the Chicago Blackhawks again. You're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets again, the Flyers twice. We have a Charmin soft schedule, and our team is completely healthy. We should be coming away with, I said, at least 70% of the available points over the next 8 games. Anything less is disappointing to me because this is a really weak part of a really easy portion of our schedule. You got to go ahead and make sure you take care of it.
I'd be disappointed if we weren't 17-8 by the end of this next 8-game stretch.
Punter Curtis says Sorokin's not going to get signed to an 8-year deal. He's going to take a higher AAV for a shorter time period. Hey, goalies, I don't know. Goalies sometimes a goalie breaks down early. Sometimes goalies can last a long time. I think at this time, and his contract expires. How old is he going to be? Like 27, 28 years old?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not exactly sure how old he's going to be. 27 or 28. As soon as he's eligible for unrestricted free agency, he hits it because the idiot Lamoriello just signed him, right to that. He's going to be 28 years old.
I could definitely see him signing an 8-year contract. That takes him till he's 36. He's not going to be earning when he's 36 years old. He's not going to be playing at the same level he's playing at now and not playing the same exact amount of time. Yeah. Sorrow is an unrestricted free agent in 2 years.
Sorokin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of think signing goalies long-term is dumb. Nothing over 4 to 5 years for netminder. If they're still playing good at the end, extend them. That the goalie wants to sign long-term because they want to maximize that dollar.
Yep.
So I think he'll want as long as he can, just based off his year, just based off his time period. Gungun says, will next Wednesday be the first show where you both broadcasting in the same location? No. We've done that, but we never had live streams in the same location ever. We did the podcast.
Not true.
When?
On the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, we did them from my house, where you sat in one room and I was in another. Absolutely.
When we did TJ, hold on. When we did the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, Grump. Oh, you're talking about when we live streamed a football game. We live streamed one football. We have live streamed one time in the same place, and it was not on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. When we did just a podcast where there's no live stream, that's how originally we did our podcast. Was we'd be at the same spot at the same time. But ever since we started live streaming, we've never been in the same place at the same time for the Islanders show. Lou will let him go, says bed and blanket. I'm calling it. Talking about Sorokin. I hope not. Kungun says, Grumpy, is TJ being a bad boy tonight?
He's just being ridiculous.
Oh, man. Lou's going to let him go, bed and blanket says. I'm sure of it because he'd rather overpay for fourth liners. Oh, man. Mario says, I'm not sure about that. 27 years old, 7-year contract. Sorokin won't meet either of that criteria. Be 28, I think, when his contract when he extends. He's going to get paid a healthy margin. Boys, we're third in all of the East in scoring, and third and East in goal differential. Our special teams overall is good. We have the stats to back up our success at the moment.
The best barometer to see if a team is a playoff team or not is goal differential. If you look at the end of the year, and I followed it last year, all the teams with positive goal differentials made the playoffs. The ones that didn't make it. So that's a really good barometer.
We are 14 plus on goal. Wow, the Devils are on a 10-game winning streak, by the way.
And they're playing really well. It's like, not like, okay, they're just hanging on. They're like, they lead in every single metric. Every single metric they lead the league. They're good.
Just so you're aware, the Penguins are -1 goal differential, and they're the second worst team in our division.
Minus goal differential. There you go.
I'm just saying long term, I think they could definitely be a team that has a plus goal differential, and they might not make the postseason. That was my point of the comment.
We'll see.
Hmm.
Jari's terrible. Jari's terrible.
Like we look at the schedule, we've played a weak portion of some games we played against tough tier teams. I think we've benefited from certain items, and we've played some really weak teams. We have got to beat up on the shitty teams right now. If we do that, I'm in. You ask, when am I no longer going to be cautiously optimistic and full on board? When we take care of these shitty teams and how we play against the good teams. We probably won't get to all the comments, Grumpy, but we're going to
we definitely will not get to all the comments today.
All right, Grumpy, you're reading them all from here on out then.
Okay. I'm going to just touch on the ones that I think
I will pull up the ones. You do the reading. I will do the ones where I pull them up for you. You do the reading.
Okay, do that. Gungun says, is it true that DiPietro has a Bobby Bow type pay agreement with the Islanders? I think that's done now, isn't it? 15 years. I think that's done. Ponyboy Curtis says, every team that wins the Stanley Cup 99% of the time all have one thing in common. They have some players, sometimes star ones, that take somewhat of a pay cut to play on a winning team. I don't know about that. Buffalo has now lost 7 in a row. Poor Sabres fans. They don't have a goaltender.
Yeah, that's the issue there. Also comment here, Nick C.
I miss positive TJ. It all changed after the Romanov trade. Grump stays the same as always, ahead of the curve. I told TJ that. He just needs to stay in his freaking lane. I told you that.
Tough to be positive when you can see the writing on the wall. I like usually where there's dichotomy. I like the friendly disagreement usually we had for years and years, but you could see the shifting.
The team is 11-6. Why are you negative now? We're almost.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe bullshit.
We're almost playing at a 67% winning percentage, and still you're complaining. That's my job.
John M. Grump.
Our D-zone coverage was horse crap in Ottawa. True. But we were terrible.
Goon Grump.
Grumpy, can you please gargle that sweet grape drink for a few seconds? Pretty please. No, not today.
Oh, man. And Pony Bear said, Grumpy, another one there.
Boys, not
to no, I didn't even read that one. Sorry. No, Pony Bear Curtis, we're done. We're not talking about that guy anymore. We're doing a fun, lighthearted show. It even got brought up on the Washington show. Like, we're done talking about that kid. I really don't give a shit because we'll never see him ever.
And then you bring another one up. Is
that the same thing? Oh, God. Okay. I got to read them. I read the first bit. I'm like, okay, gotcha. Grumpy, CJ.
TJ needs a Percocet.
Well, I mean, Percocet calms you down or relaxes you or puts you to sleep. Okay. And Pony Bear Curtis, Grumpy.
I'm a believer in this team likely makes the playoffs, and once that happens, a game of hockey is one where anything can happen. Okay.
I think when you're talking about the postseason, you're right. It's a completely different animal. I think teams that are more physical, it helps usually just because the war of attrition. But the skill the skill and the speed of Colorado last year was just no team could match it. But Grumpy, CJ, say a comment.
Zach Parise this season. So far, your opinions. I think he needs to retire. Also, opinions this season on Palmieri, Beauvillier, and Bailey. I want to hear both of your honest opinions. Go ahead, TJ.
Parise, I thought third line guy. Cannot be, and I think he's reverted back. I know he's been jostling around between first and third line. Needs to be a third liner. I think he needs to retire. I think he's okay, serviceable as a third line guy. Palmieri has played better this year than last year. I mean, it's all relative, though. Last year, I thought he was underwhelming, so maybe he's just below average right now. But Villiers has been – he is what he is. Third-line streaky guy who plays the top six for us because we are bereft of top six talent. Bailey is finished. He's cashed. That's just the opinions I've got.
I think they're all in the same boat, underwhelming so far this season. Every single one of them. Not worth the money they're getting paid.
Jen M. Grump.
If you like this podcast, smash the like button. Yeah, do that.
Smash it, Grump.
Helps the algorithm, I'm told.
Yes.
TJ, do not have a hissy fit millennial over Grumpy's lackluster performance.
You just misread that, Grumpy. It says millennial hissy fit. Can you not read, Grump?
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, sure. Frank K.
I haven't liked Pellick's play. He gets beat a lot now. That used to never happen. Yeah, because he doesn't skate as well as he used to. He gets beat on his thing. That was like last year as well. You could see the best that they were the best in 2019. I think it was 2019, 2020, whatever it is. But there's been a gradual decline for both of them. Pellick needs to play with Dobson, Pulak with the man with where he doesn't know, the man who doesn't play in any space, Romanov.
Point of Curtis, Grumpy.
What was the point of signing Shushnikov just to waive him? Exactly. He did the same thing last year, too. Who the hell did he sign just to waive? I forget.
Jan Kovar. Well, Jan Kovar left.
Kovar wasn't. No, it's not Jan Kovar.
That was 2 years ago. Jan Kovar.
No.
Golishev. Anatoly Golishev was last year. Jan Kovar was the mistake from 2 years ago.
You're wrong. Kovar's been gone forever. You're 100% wrong. Lamorilla wasn't even GM when Kovar was here.
You're freaking nuts. You are freaking sadly mistaken, my friend. Jan Kovar. Oh, wow. That was 2018-19 season.
Thank you. Next.
Holy shit. That was a long time ago.
No kidding.
I'm wrong.
So quick to attack that millennial hissy fit way of yours.
I just said I'm wrong.
Declan F says,
you need to see, Grumpy. I said I'm wrong. Huh?
Am I the only one who thinks you put your apology on page 37 down in the bottom left-hand corner so no one could see it.
As soon as I was wrong, I just said I was wrong.
You were trumpeting you're so wrong on page 1. That's what you did. You're typical like a newspaper.
Something else.
Declan F says, am I the only one who thinks the numbers on the reverse retros are weird? Something I don't like about them, especially Barzal's 13. Well, that's the way those numbers kind of looked back in the old days.
I just don't like the color. I just can't get past.
I can't get past the colors. Everything's the same color. I don't like it.
Yep. Brian J.
Asking a lot of Brock and the Crimson Chin to keep this pace up. Then where will the goals come from? That's right. If you look at it, they're really
both on pace to hit 40 goals this year.
There's not going to happen. There's 4 guys on this team offensively who are carrying the load. Dobson, Barzal, Lee, and Nelson. Those 4 guys are carrying the load so far. Need at least another 2. At least another 2. Probably 3 or 4. Ponyboy Curtis says, whose game play is the most comparable to the texture of
Carvel's soft serve ice cream? Holmstrom or Bailey?
They're both the same. And I'm going to say that not really Carvel because Carvel is good. I'm going to probably say it's probably, I don't know, something coming out of a machine that hasn't been cleaned in 6 years. It's like black chunks are coming out of it.
Now you just make me don't want to eat ice cream from there because I'm like, how often do they actually clean those machines?
They clean them every night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
They don't leave that. It's not ice cream. It's like it's like a
yogurty type of shit.
No, it's like a liquid that they pour in there, and then the machine turns it. It's not really ice cream either.
Hold on, really?
Yeah,
huh.
Yeah. It's good though. It's good. Anytime I'm in New York, man, I go to Carvel every single time. Mario says you're right. It used to be that a player became a UFA at the age of 27 if he had 5 years of service.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Remember everyone who was privy to the situation and her mother claimed that Kadri was going to be an Islander for 8 years. We were worrying big time. Absolutely.
And what did I say? Do you remember? I didn't buy in till the last week. And then it was the banana in the tailpipe. As soon as I said I believed it, then the Islanders said, nope, we're not signing him. I was the last holdout. And they're like, good. I'm going to make him look bad. Gungun says, you really got to do a defensive back Cooper shirt. Speaking of which, you should plug your store heavily for the holidays. Wake up. Don't give up.
Yeah, I guess we should. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
There's another shirt. We need to put out the Islanders logo on the Islanders Never Say Die as a shirt. That one would sell. I've been telling TJ this for a year and a half. He just freaking doesn't want to listen to me.
Oh my God! Let me add it to the laundry list. Let me add it to the laundry list of the things you give me. These tasks you give me to do. TJ, do this. TJ, do that. TJ, do that. I swear.
Who, when I said I wanted to be known as the grumpy old man, he's like, "That's so stupid. What the hell are you doing that for? Dumb."
It was a bad decision. You were right, Grumpy. You're still talking about that 5 years later.
Because every decision you make is the wrong one.
Every take you have.
I tell you something.
I'm 100% right. You're always wrong, Grumpy. Always.
There's page one. Here comes the apology on page 37.
Dude, we're 3 hours in, man. We're not going to get to all the comments, but Grumpy, let's wrap this up. I'm sorry if we didn't get your comments. We love everybody who comments in. Trust me, we do. We got distracted on early things. There was a lot to talk about. Holmstrom potentially getting called up. I botched it. I framed it as if he was already called up. He doesn't get called up probably in all likelihood until tomorrow.
Who cares? As long as he doesn't play, I don't give a shit where he is.
But we will not be having a show this Saturday. I know, frowny face. I'm sorry. We're sorry, guys. We'll be in Dallas. Message us on social media. Message us on Twitter. That's always the best place. Message us on Twitter or something like that. We'll do something before the game or during warm-ups or something like that. We'll get something or grab it. We'll see you guys there. We'll be in Dallas. We're not in Dallas all the time, but if you're in the area, let us know. We'll get something going, guys. Twitter, Facebook, leave a YouTube comment. We'll reach back out to you. We'll get in touch with you. We got an email. IslandersFansUnited@gmail.com. Best way to reach us too, so we can get something scheduled if we want to do something beforehand, just so we know who is all going to be there. We could get there with you guys and shoot the shit before the show or before the game. But Grumpy, what do you want to say before we wrap things up today?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the grumpy old man.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. Again, this Saturday we'll be in Dallas. Watching I'm excited, Grump. This is the first time we've watched a game in person, at least me, in 4 years. Actually, maybe 4 years. Might be 4 years.
It's probably less than that, but hey, whatever.
How long have we been doing this podcast for?
I don't know. Long time.
Why now are you getting persnippety with me at the very end?
I don't know. I don't know how long it's been.
It's the first year when Pelech exploded on the scene. I think it was the 18-19 year. It was the first year when Barry Trotz. Yeah, the first year Barry Trotz as a head coach. We went to a game last.
It was not the first year Barry Trotz was a head coach.
Yeah, because Lucas Spiza was a starter over Adam Pelech. That was the first year when Barry Trotz was head coach.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you about it. It doesn't matter that much to me.
I'm going to tell you, you're exhausted.
Oh,
you're not going to fight me on it. Yes, the 2018-19 season was the year that Lucas Spiza was there. So it has been, Grumpy, 2018. So it's been about 4 years since we were last at a game, Grumpy old man. So that's going to be fun.
Okay. Yes, it will be. I'll be there.
Lucas Spiza. Grumpy, wrong again. We'll be there. We'll see you. What, Grump? Is there anything you want to say before we wrap things up, man?
No.
Love and laughter. Everybody listen.
I already said that. And then you go on a whole nother thing. And now what do you want me to say it again?
I forgot.
I already did that.
That's distracted.
Usually the end. And then you went into something again, the whole thing. And I guess you forgot that I've already done that.
Oh.
Will make you feel better. Love and laughter to everyone who listens. And even those who don't. Again, for the second time, because we really mean it this time, from TJ and the grumpy old man.
I need you to give another one. I need you to give another one because you weren't going to be here Saturday, Grumpy. You needed to give 2 of them. So I'm glad you're able to give that second dose. Double dose. 2-time, Grumpy.
Double dose.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Double dose.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you guys live Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Yeah, so we'll see you guys on Wednesday live. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Be down in Dallas this Saturday. Thank you, Grumpy, as always.
My pleasure.